Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Whole Magazine, the not gun-related podcast with a gun-related name.
Again.
And here is
what
your
are you
host.
doing, guy? That's your job.
Here is your host, Brandon Cox.
Hello, folks. Thank you, Walker, for that lovely introduction. We are joined by Hayes.
Hey, that's me.
And Walker.
Hi.
And Cornette.
Hello, that's me.
The usual suspects. But we have two extra guests. You've heard of him before on the podcast. You like going by what? You have been on the podcast, believe it or not. You do? Oh, you remember?
Give him a mic.
Yeah,
Give
go
him a
go and get into Cornette's mic. Oh yeah, he's the one that doesn't remember. You have to
That's
be close. You have to be close to the
right.
mic. He doesn't remember. Into it. No.
Almost there, almost there.
So you see on the front where the Audio Technica label is? On the front there? That is where your face needs to be. You're off to the side. There you go.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So Cody's here. Yes. Cody's here, and we also have the first time guest. What do you want to go by?
You can just go by my first name. Call me Thor.
Okay, Thor. We have Thor.
Wait, from like Stargate SG-1 Thor or Marvel Cinematic Universe
From
Thor?
the comic books. You can just,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we liked you in your older
great,
stuff.
great to have you on the podcast. But yeah, Walker, take us into this alcohol review.
So apparently we're reviewing two things I'm pretty sure we've done before, but we're
Yes.
comparing them.
yeah, so we
All
have,
right, so we're doing Glenfiddich 12 and Lagavulin. Which one would you rather have us start with?
we're gonna start with the Glenfiddich 12.
Okay.
So
Yeah, this is absolutely new
The
content.
Lagavulin is a 16-year Lagavulin, and Glenfiddich is, of course, a 12-year. It's Glenfiddich 12. So everyone who is drinking...
Yeah. So we have tasted these by themselves on the podcast. We have done Glenfiddich 12 on a podcast. We've done Lagavulin 16 on a podcast. We're going to compare the two. These are both scotches, so we're going to taste them both
Pass it out.
and see how they fare. Look, I get the curvaceous one.
Oh, yes,
The
of
one with
course.
the little handle on the bottom. Beautiful.
Just
yeah,
pouring enough for sipping,
thank you.
tasting.
Glenfiddich 12, a beautiful whiskey. It is so nice. It is in the middle ground between smokiness. So you have Lagavulin, which is gonna be like I said, like campfire. You're sticking your face in it and all that beautiful smoke. Glenfiddich is like your middle ground, and like for example, a Macallan, which we don't have anymore. That one was finished. Is a very light, smoky peatiness. But Glenfiddich 12, here we go.
So on the nose, it is a little smoky.
Yeah, I mean, you just
It's so good.
can't.
It's
you
just-
just can't.
It's so warm.
Glenfiddich 12 is just at that middle ground where it is drinkable. Have some. I don't understand. We also have an audience today, believe it or not,
And they don't like whiskey.
and they don't like whiskey.
They say they don't like whiskey.
But it's
we don't know if that's true or not.
Hang on, that's not the one. There it is. There's our audience.
We need to
There's our
not
audience.
have a soundboard, probably.
So the Glenfiddich 12, a beautiful, happy middle ground. It's just smoking enough where you can identify as Scotch, and it's delicious.
Once you guys are done, and the back...
Little vanilla.
Unfortunately, we don't have anything to rinse these out with, so it's going to be contaminating the Lagavulin, but...
Don't worry, the Lagavulin's gonna shine right through. So next, we're moving on to Lagavulin 16. Now this is 16 years in a cask. It is there's gonna be a night and day difference. You are going to feel the burn. It is gonna be peaty. It's gonna be smoky.
Does everyone remember what glasses are theirs? Because
It's alcohol. It's sterilized in the glass as we speak.
I don't want your fucking hepatitis.
Yeah, that's
It's herpetogonosyphilate.
This is definitely
and
an
you will
Archer
respect
moment.
my diseases.
Wait, hold on. We need to try to get the...
Oh, yeah.
Do it again. Do it again. Give us another.
Give us,
Give us
come on,
another.
Give us another.
If you guys...
That one wasn't even engineered.
If you guys didn't
that was
react like it was
actually what sounds
sexual,
like.
maybe, but...
Is it not?
Isn't
You tell me you don't get a little bit
Which glass
happy.
is this?
That shit was sex in a bottle.
So you tell me, Walker, that you don't get a little bit excited when you hear a whiskey bottle open. Exactly. Silence.
straight.
Silence.
I get
Silence
excited
is a
for
1,000 words.
women, or one woman.
Good job.
Phrasing.
Yeah. So smell that. Smell that for a moment. Let's let these gentlemen get their last glasses.
That sounds like a last meal kind of sentence.
Yeah, there's
right
last glasses.
there. Thank you.
There's that
Unless you
difference.
poisoned it.
It's such a more intense,
Oh,
peaty
yeah.
smell. I remember one time we actually did a flight of whiskeys. Remember that?
Yep.
It was
remember we
like
had
when
some
we
people
did
over.
we did this.
Yeah, that
the
was
last
that was
large
the little
barbecue I did.
apartment. Yeah,
Yeah.
the smallest.
The huge one, we had like 14 people.
Immediately on the nose, it is way more like a campfire.
Way more,
Yeah.
way more. I'll be sipping on this
That
for
is
the rest of the
dominant-
podcast.
So Macallan, or not Macallan, Glenfiddich 12 is more like there's a hint of smoke to
Yeah.
it. And then Macallan is like, "Oh, this is a campfire that I'm smelling."
I love the taste of whiskeys and everything, but I haven't had a sense
Holy
of smell since I was
shit.
9. So
And
I
there's-
really don't know what's
Yeah,
going on
that
with the
is the
smells.
campfire, like in the glass.
That's unfortunate
man.
because a lot of like the nuance to the flavor does come from your
It
nose,
doesn't
but
smell
Olfactory.
It doesn't smell as good
No,
as
I-
the last
this
glass,
is the
but this tastes better.
I will say this.
I
There
think
is-
you're wrong, Hayes.
There is
Really?
a difference across the entire spectrum here. There's difference in smell. There's difference in taste. And personally, for me, Lagavulin, which is why I love it so much, this is all subjective, folks. It's sweet. It is sweet when you first take it in. That's like the smoothness, the vanilla notes. It's delicious. And then it finishes with that freaking delicious smoke. Such
I honestly
a
like.
beautiful
I
scotch.
like it way better. It's so
It's
much.
so
better.
much better. It is so much better. So much
That's
better
not
for the money.
entirely fair
But-
because it's a 16
But
versus a 12.
exactly. But then again, Glenfiddich is such easy drinking, and it's still just delicious. But then again, we're comparing the two, right? Everyone has their favorites. Everyone has a favorite child.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's like. I have 2 children. I don't know which one's my favorite yet.
Oh, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that's not sentient, the 9-month-old.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we can put these bottles away because these
Yeah.
are too expensive for me to get drunk
Yeah.
on during the podcast.
Yeah, those are
No,
celebratory.
no, we can do another Halloween episode in
We can't.
August
I don't
or
want
whatever.
Don't
We have the where's that other bottle of Glenfiddich? On the bar. You want to grab that? We'll grab that Glenfiddich and then we can open that. I mean,
I
if y'all
should
if y'all
not
want,
be drinking liquor while on a podcast.
if y'all want to drink,
this is a recipe for
we
disaster.
have
The rest of your cast
We'll ask for.
disagree.
We'll get some Mike's Hard. You know what I didn't do?
What?
God damn it!
What?
The sounds. You have to have the
Damn
sounds.
it, man.
Well, there it is. That's the outro.
Edit it in post.
Edit
Fuck
in. Fuck it. We'll do it live.
I like how the audience without headphones are like completely lost.
Yeah, we have engineered intros and outros. But we're diving in. So how have y'all been, right? Spring has sprung in the Pacific
It's
Northwest,
sunny
right?
outside. Oh my God! Thank God.
You know, the weather was doing us a favor because we didn't have to see your fucking thighs, Hayes.
You see how powerful these look, though?
my
Like they support my fat ass. Look at that shit. Sergeant Gates was
True.
talking
Hey,
good shit about
credit
my
where
legs.
credit is due.
Your calves are fucking massive.
It's amazing.
But they have to be
Huge.
or you'd topple over.
So
Fucking Atlas over there. But
Atlas fat.
we all are pretty much aware of, and this is a topic. We have some rinse and reuse topics. The last episode we did, folks, is just a complete loss.
Yeah.
I was too drunk. There was just so much going on.
That's when I actually did research.
There was
I had a lot of
huge-
really good things to say.
There was
And you know what's-
huge lapses in like timing because everyone went on a fucking like apparently an hour-long siesta in the middle of the podcast. So I was like scrubbing through.
Wait, that was
don't-
us.
and I was just like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just left it.
I
It was
don't
2
think
hours
that
of footage I
happened.
had to scrub through. So,
An hour long. It was supposed to be a
Footage.
break.
Footage.
Yeah.
You're supposed to stop recording.
No. It's just don't question my methods. It was a loss anyway. There
was
was
sad
just so
'cause-
much to scrub through.
Wait, you didn't publish that one?
No.
The one time I do real
bullshit.
research and
What
I don't just
research?
like
We
look
need-
shit up
we need to
during
publish
the
a highlights
podcast to
reel.
talk about
that's the most I've ever talked on a podcast.
What
That's
research
some
did
That's
you do?
actually fucked
House
up.
Bill
Yeah.
1240 in Washington.
Oh, well, you can address that again. It's
What?
fine.
I don't want to.
No, we talked about the
Okay,
bill in
so then stop
Colorado
your
and
complaining.
everything.
Yeah, well, you know. Cry me
I'm
a river.
deeply
You're a piece of
offended.
shit, Cox.
I'm deeply offended. Okay.
Deeply
That's fine.
offended.
I just fed you fucks. Shut the fuck up.
And I paid for it, bitch.
Now that's some fucking facts.
it's literally the least
Look,
you can do.
I sponsored booze, so I'm absolved of all
So-
guilt here.
Yes, you are forgiven for your sins. Everyone is kind of aware of the Nashville shooting, right? Everyone's heard of that and what happened there. Some
Fuck the news.
trans entity entered a elementary school, a Christian elementary school, and shot children and killed them. But have no fear, folks. The White House is here to save the day. So this is what the Washington press secretary had to say to address the situation.
One of the things that we saw during the midterm elections is that people don't want their freedoms to be taken. They want us to fight for their freedoms. And so it is shameful, it is disturbing, and
We'll play
our
it. I'll
hearts
play it
go
again
out
for the
to,
audience,
those
'cause this is
trans
going directly
community
to the
as they
podcast
are
recorder.
under attack right now.
You can't hide that was on TikTok, you motherfucker.
During the midterm elections is that people don't want their freedoms to be taken. They want us to fight for their freedoms. And so it is shameful, it is disturbing, and our hearts go out to the trans community as they are under attack right now.
But not the kids that died.
So
Yeah,
yes,
no.
we have literal dead children
That were attacked.
that were killed by a
With a
trans
rifle.
person.
Yeah.
But the White House has to say, "Oh, we feel so bad. Our hearts go out to the trans community because they're under attack right now." I didn't hear anything in the news of the trans community being under attack. No, there might have been just slight criticisms, which is usual.
But
When you kill children,
remember,
I think you're gonna catch some flack.
Words are violence now, right? That's the threshold.
That's true. Words are
Any
violence.
sort of criticism against any protected group is violence.
I find that offensive.
Oh fuck! Now,
So-
wait. I'm
with
under
you.
attack now.
So here
you,
we
Thor.
have,
I'm with you.
we had a press secretary for the Washington. This is just the administration's opinion on the whole matter, is that we need to care about the trans people. Now, when there's literally any other shooting, you will never hear that from them,
no.
right?
Fuck no.
This just so happened to be done by the correct, group of people to receive those kinds of protections.
Now, to play devil's advocate, you will hear a lot from, depending on the political party who does the shooting, what the issues are with why that shooting isn't as bad as you think it is, and why we should focus more on mental health, or in this case, trans rights. Or before it was if you remember, the San Bernardino shootings, if you call a Muslim a terrorist, they will become a terrorist, that kind of thing.
Which is
so this is standard, and I think politicizing
hilarious.
mass shootings is a horrible thing to do, and I think that the idea that you use this as we need to push for mental health is the issue, or trans rights are the issue, or the tolerance to Muslims is the issue, instead of not politicizing the issue.
the
Now,
sad part.
now here's the thing, and I think you're right. But since it is being politicized, the only thing I have to say is I want the manifesto released. I want the FBI to give it to us, and I don't want any of it censored.
You are right on it, Nathan. Thank you so much, because that is something that we haven't seen yet. The FBI is withholding the manifesto, but remember that was a Buffalo shooting? He had a manifesto, and that was published
Yeah,
before the bodies were
instantly,
assumed
dude.
room temperature.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Oh.
Probably because it contained the true trans agenda. Is these Catholic Christian schools are preventing trans agendas from being pushed, and so therefore they need to be stopped. That's to sit here and argue to me, and you hear this all the time on the left, of the idea that it's not happening. It's not happening. But the fact of the matter is they're so shameless in what they're doing. It's all over the internet. Just look. Open your lying eyes and look at what they're doing to kids in schools. Okay, they are pushing
Your lying eyes.
your lying eyes.
This sounds like you're trying to gaslight people into believing.
They are pushing.
Who are you going to trust, me or your
me or
lying
your eyes? They are pushing this trans agenda onto children via them just telling them about it, right? And saying you should try it. Legit teachers are telling children they should try being trans or gay. If this isn't cut and clear about the agenda that's ultimately going on with LGBTQ community as a whole, I don't know what is. Furthermore, they didn't publish the damn.
Imagine not doing it the old school way and taking a dive and hoping it works out. Now with people are telling you, it's crazy, ain't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's gotten me into 2 divorces, so it's kind of a weird aspect to think of it, like how I kind of came about. Like when I came out, I literally put myself in a position where I could beat my dad in a fight.
Yeah.
In AIT, I finally had my own back and stuff like that. But saw the other day that some certain schools are actually pushing for a separation between their kids and their parents, giving the kids the ability to have a safe space away from their parents, and then also something along the
You're
lines
absolutely right. So there's a thing in Washington State that was just passed, where it allowed for children. It more or less is an attack on parental rights for their children. So this was allowing kids to just run away from home and live inside host houses, and the host houses don't have to notify the parents. They don't have to get permission to do medical interventions. And what do they mean by that? Medical treatment is what they call it. They mean transgender affirming care. They mean
Chemical castration.
chemical castration. They mean all of those things. That's what they mean. So they don't want parents to be in control, because this goes back to what we discussed a long time ago in the podcast, bio-Leninism, where they are taking these groups of people and they're just basically breeding. They're making a new voter base.
They're mimetically breeding.
Now, let's be entirely honest right here. 40% attrition rate in the transgender community is is steep. It's out there, right? what's naturally, I guess, over time they would sort of read themselves out, right? But they have to reproduce somehow, and how they reproduce is in the school system. And so there it is. There it is.
Yes.
That wasn't engineered either.
No, it was not.
They reproduce via going to children's schools and converting them. That's how this is working, and it's demonstrably working like that. Oh, it's such a that's why you should homeschool your kids. I know it's difficult. If you can,
Walker
if you
will
want to
drink
work,
this
if you want to work, go ahead, but get a job that makes enough money to afford private school or a religious school.
Or
do
homeschool.
that.
Homeschool is a good option if you can afford that too.
Then again, homeschooling, yeah, it's a big thing to ask.
And homeschooling can be done as a collective. You can do that with your neighbors. That does augment the cost. That is an option.
Oh, get this.
So we have another clip. 2 + 2 no longer equaling 4.
So stupid.
So get this, the Ontario Mathematics Coordinators Association has
Canada,
officially
don't care.
deemed the equation 2 + 2 = 4 to no longer be objectively correct, because instead of being a mathematically proven equation, instead they are calling it a white supremacist dog whistle. Apparently, if
Dumb
you are
bitch.
emotionally neutral about the equation 2 + 2 = 4, then you are participating in covert white supremacy.
Yeah. Let's have you guys listen to that. Now, what is this? What is the meaning of this?
Well, this is just the latest.
Well, I don't think Canada's going to be putting anyone on the moon.
No.
At any time. So,
But this
Their
is
opinion doesn't matter.
to answer your question, Cox. This is the latest example of the most recent forward conclusion of critical theory that
Yeah,
popped
it's
up
critical
in
race theory.
Berkeley in the 60s, right? Objective reality isn't nearly as objective as we think, right? But like it keeps getting worse, right? So when you hear like terms
Yeah.
like critical race
Covert
theory,
white-
right? That thing, that is a extension, a branch
Now
of the
you know why I
family
called
of
her a
critical
bitch.
theory. There's all sorts of things you can be critical about and deconstruct, and deconstruction's a part of that. It's just that's all you're listening to is
I just want to ask a real quick question. So I listened to this whole thing and it doesn't really make sense to me. What is the basis of this whole math equation to understanding how did this? Where's the relation?
I will tell you. I will tell
There's
you.
a lot of different types of
So
dog
confused.
whistles when it comes to the KKK, fucking Nazi stuff like that. But like, it's kind of like pushing the envelope. with
Let me
this
tell you this.
type of dog
Okay.
whistle.
Everyone's heard of affirmative action, correct? Okay. This is the left sort of agenda of getting social justice, right, for inequalities. And I don't even say inequalities. What it is inequities, right? And they're so blatant in their word usage, right? There's inequality and there's inequity. I feel like not many people know the difference, right? The layman, let's say. Inequality is, I think everyone can kind of confirm what that is, right? It is just inequality, okay?
Yeah.
People aren't valued as the same because of the fundamental things that make up that person or whatever. And equity is the complete dismissal of every previous determining factor and focusing on the outcome, right? And equity is me and you aside, you got to be a welder, I didn't,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with previous experiences, right? I didn't go get a fucking welder certification, right?
Yeah.
But you did. No. Inequity is bullshit. That's not fair because you have and I don't.
Yeah.
And so we need to then allow me to become a welder so that way fucking ships can just break apart in half, right? This is going down to the left's ultimate agenda of changing how we handle these. It's going to get really crazy. One of the greatest things to keep a population in control is keeping them dumb. Keep them ignorant. Do not allow them to learn how to read. Do not teach them arithmetic. So that way they cannot govern themselves.
another way to
Right.
do it is to convince them to like use their literacy for things that don't matter.
What dictator tried to do
So
that? I forgot
no,
his name.
ultimately, if the fact of the matter is that if any group of people have the ability to read or write in any capacity, or do arithmetic in any capacity, they have too much power. To the left, they're not as much as controllable as someone who doesn't. Okay, because if I hand you a law book and you can't read, how are you going to check me on that? I can say whatever the fuck I want on there. Like, you have to pay me $10,000 a month, otherwise you go to jail.
It also kind of plays into the fact that like agriculture and like growing your own food and
Yeah.
having your own animals is like kind of not a norm. And so like, let's say you have like a community of like 30 different families, and 10 of those families have like 3 or 4 chickens. They would produce enough eggs to literally sink the entire egg industry. Like if there was communities more like that across America, it would destroy.
If one out of, I forget the actual number, one out of X family had chickens to lay eggs and provide food for their community, we would no longer have an egg industry, because
absolutely, yeah.
The knowledge is power, and you can affect so much change in the world by just knowing things. Why is this?
fact-
Now,
In fact-
there's something interesting about that statement. How many people do you really think would want to have chickens in their backyard? Say if they all
Me.
were knowledgeable.
Oh, I
Yeah,
would.
You might.
Yeah,
I would.
Yeah.
People in this room, totally understandable.
But a
My
lot of
girl
people
literally
might
tells me
not.
she wants to have pet chickens just so she can have her own eggs.
So another thing with just having chickens is like if you're trying to garden your own vegetables and stuff like that, they will literally like
Manure.
make
it's so
make
great.
it healthier, like
Right.
eat the
So you're
bugs, ticks, stuff like
you're
that.
finding ways for people to be more self-sufficient in their own lives and then completely become more reliable on themselves instead of the society that they're in. Now, how many people do you think within our society actually care to be that
Well,
self-reliant?
they're all in the Bible. What is called the fucking Bible Belt of the United States. They're all in the South.
They're in the Bible.
They're in the Bible.
I really thought we were going.
Now who doesn't read the Bible?
So, but
bitch?
I understand your point.
okay,
But the
Still not you.
the
Hayes.
crux of this statement right now is the fact that we are trying to destroy some of those basic fundamental academic standards that you can teach any child, right? And they're not that's not hyperbole, by the way. 2 + 2 = 4 was not a hyperbole of what they mean. They legit mean that arithmetic, basic math, adding and subtracting, and having a right or wrong answer is demonstrative of white supremacy.
It's objective reality, and any observance of it is.
But the
white
question is-
Somebody is
supremacy.
taking this and relating it to this concept. Now,
question
I'm
is
wondering,
why.
you keep saying it's leftist. I'm trying
Yes.
to figure out: is this a generalized perspective that they have throughout the leftists?
Yes.
Or
Yes.
is
It's
this-
called critical theory.
Yes.
Yeah, but
it comes out of
who's-
Berkeley.
Like, where is it coming from?
you
Who
hear
are
Berkeley?
these people?
It
that
comes
are
from
saying it?
Berkeley.
Hang on.
The Frankfurt
Hang
School.
on.
Did you hear about the female that escaped North Korea? I forgot her name. She's kind of been in all
I've
the podcasts
seen her.
lately. And how she was saying that Kim Jong Un disproved 1 + 1 being 2, because his reasoning from her mouth was if you take a drop of water and add it to another drop of water,
Yeah.
that's 1 + 1. It's just a bigger one. It's
Wow.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
See, but now these are the kind of concepts that people are.
when you can
using,
get people
and
to-
it's redundant.
If you can get people to give up objective reality, then anything you tell them can be correct from a certain point of view. Right? So
There's
telling people to, okay, 2 + 2 doesn't equal 4, it equals 5 now. I don't know if you guys are into sci-fi or anything, if anyone's seen Star Trek The Next Generation, the whole thing with the episode, are there 4 lights or 5 lights? There's 4 lights, but the guy's trying to get Captain Picard to say that there are 5 lights is some kind of way to get him to give up objective reality, some kind of like without getting too far into it, like they're trying to break him so that they will be able to get anything that they want out of him.
yeah.
So when you give up objective reality, anything you want to be true can be true. But the thing is that there's going to be someone telling you what's true and what's not. And you see this in historically, like Nazi Germany, the Soviet Union, these big propaganda machines, especially even now in Russia right now, the propaganda machines just pushing whatever they want out. And Russians and people who live in the third world will just believe it because Russia said it. And it doesn't have to make any sense at all. I saw one thing recently where there was people speaking English in a very heavily Russian accent, but it's being pushed by people who believe the Russian propaganda as, oh, look, these are foreign mercenaries. But it's obviously Russians speaking English off of the script. But because the government said it was something, it is something.
Yeah.
And they throw out any kind of critical thinking, anything at all, because if you can get people to give up objective reality and critical thinking by telling them that, well, actually, you're smarter if you object.
Now-
or if you object to this.
Let me give
truth.
you the climax of why this is applicable to modern day life right now.
Well,
The left, and this is the left, anybody who is not a liberal but is on the left side of the spectrum is the left. These are the radicals, these are extremists who believe that America is still racist and the only solution is to just be racist. Yeah, dig deep in that one and you'll find that I'm correct. What are they doing? So affirmative action was the thing that basically forced colleges to basically look at minorities on different grading scales. So your high school test that you do to SATs or whatever the hell they're called, right? They would look at every demographic to a different scale. So an Asian student was having to exceed the standards because on average, Asian students perform way better on the SAT than every other demographic. Okay. We look at other demographics. White, they were looked at a different grade scale. Black students were looked at a different grade scale. Why? Because we have to assume that the system is racist. And so we have to then be racist in order to fix it. It is objectively racist to grade an Asian student on a completely different scale just because they on average score better than everyone else. That's racist. And so when we start tearing down the basic fundamentals of academia and say 2 + 2 might not equal 4 because it's racist, guess what their crux of the argument is? Black students do worse in school on average than other demographics.
Which, if you look at the stats, that's false. White students are proven to have the worst grades out of any ethnicity.
So this is when you look at the per capita, I guess you would call it.
Yep.
They are disproportionately represented as having, on average, lower grade. They're not dropping out, but they on average have lower grades. And that's the argument of the left. They're like, oh, well, and we hear that from President Joe Biden of why voter ID is bad is because minorities, black people, Hispanics, they don't know how to use the internet. And they don't know how to get to the office. I'm not even shitting you. Pull that clip up and listen to it. He legit said,
Remember, you
they
don't
don't
need
know
an
how to
ID
use
to
the
buy
internet.
beer.
They don't know how to get to the offices to get a free ID. They might not afford it. They might not be able to afford a free ID. If this isn't as cut as dry as it is, people, I'm not sure what else can be. Their motivations are extremely clear.
And to point out another thing about motivations is we'd be like, it can't go unmentioned that there is a level of ritual humiliation here. It's like the story of the green grocer. You know, the Communist Party says you have to put these slogans up on your storefront. It doesn't matter if you believe the slogans or not. It doesn't matter if they pertain to reality or not.
It's a quasi insurance.
It is. If you are unwilling to fight them about it, then you're just going to listen to them. But if you fight them about it, they're going to fight you, right? So it's not just you're bending the knee. It's that you're castrating yourself in front of everyone else.
Yeah.
Like publicly shaming yourself.
So yeah,
like to agree with 2 + 2 = 5.
I know that Parker had something to say about
It's
this.
humiliation.
I'm just curious on where are we collecting this information? Like where do we
This
know
is
about this?
this is you sit and you disclosure. So I was never into politics until say middle high school. Whereas before that I was look at my fucking screensavers. It was science and bullshit
Star
like that,
Wars.
right? Look at my information catalog shit of books, right? That was where I was focused. And then I realized quickly that politics is important because ultimately everything is political. If it is something in society, which is what politics is, it's political, right? Something as mundane as the price of eggs has some political connotations to it of what is being done to make the price of eggs that much. Price of gas, not some just ambiguous number that gets decided from the heavens. No, there are political things that are going on in society which makes gas expensive. And once I quickly realized that politics is going to affect my life now and forever, I started paying very close attention. And
By the way, this is
Don't get
coming
me
from
wrong, this
Brooklyn
is-
college.
I guess what my real question
you're not
was-
going to find any studies.
Yeah, it's
You're not
just
going to find
we're
any
pulling information about
into the
like
mic.
okay
Into the mic.
the schooling that you were just talking about, how like they were subjectively racist based off the minorities within the society, within how they're structured, and identifying people of different minorities that are going to be testing worse. But where do we get this information to prove that is actually factual?
Literally going onto college websites,
Yeah,
affirmative action is something that is just being done. And the colleges are proud of it.
It's a standard
In the
policy.
society that we are living in, that is a mark of virtue. That is something to be proud about, is to be unironically racist.
but then if you're like online schooling, like I don't think I've actually.
Well,
ever
yeah,
told
online schooling
I've
isn't
never
some
told my
Ivy League
school-
university.
right? But I've never like told my school my ethnicity.
Right.
The whole time I've been in college.
That's phenomenal.
But they know. They will
They don't know
know.
who I am.
Hang on. Are you?
They do know.
Do you go to a in-person school?
No.
No. There's your first answer. These are for Ivy
Would
League
they-
colleges.
But would this still affect at the end of this? At the
You know,
end of the scale, so say if you just did a full online school and you're doing testing and they have no idea who you are, they just know that you're a student. And
Of course not. It's online testing. This is affecting Ivy League colleges, which have extremely high standards. And what it's doing is it is harming the people that
are
they've
trying to
used
attend
appropriate action for some. Let's have a face in reality. I probably couldn't get into Harvard because there are standards that I probably would not be able to meet. And so, if I were to be a victim, I would say, of appropriate action, I would be put into a position where I would have to vastly improve my skills in academia in order to succeed in that school, where I could have just gone to a other college that would have accepted me with their own actual real standards. And so it's harming these people. Everything that the left does that they claim is virtuous and anti-racist unironically harms these people, harms these minorities in the virtue of being, please vote for us. That's all it is. That's all it comes down to at the end of the day is please vote for us next cycle. That's all I really want.
I think there's a level of self-hatred involved. You can't ignore that.
The elites at the left don't hate themselves. They love themselves.
no,
They're all about it.
not the top of that food chain, but
Well,
like
yeah, because they were told to hate themselves.
the rank and
yeah,
file.
they
Yeah.
were told to hate
Yeah.
themselves, of course.
So y'all are talking about college and shit. Y'all have already fell for it. In my personal opinion, I think college is just overrated.
Well, yeah.
There's
I
no
would
reason
agree.
for it.
I mean,
There's no reason for
you are
There's
Those are the way to
some.
go.
statistically.
Trade schools are definitely
what
the
are the
way to go.
reasons to have college?
I would say at this point you'd have to have a degree to understand the law because it's so complicated.
Okay, well,
It shouldn't be that complicated.
You sure you need a degree?
hey, let's be real. I think you just nailed it. The only aspect of life that I think you would need a college degree to be proficient in is maybe the scientific fields and law. That's pretty much it. So like
Getting into
medical,
politics, like running for governor,
yeah,
stuff like that.
that stuff.
Yeah.
Political science probably important.
You don't need. Does anyone in here have a job they want to go to that requires a degree?
No.
You? What is it? So project management, right? So you need to go to college for that, and you need a degree. There are so few jobs nowadays where you need a degree to get in. Like, for example, my fucking brother, he's in IT. He didn't need a degree to get in.
No, I don't think
Let-
you're going to hear
let's-
any pushback on that.
No,
Like,
you're absolutely right.
We all pretty much
There's
agree.
definitely career fields where you need to have a degree, but
In fact, most
if the
career
primary
fields.
goal is for somebody to want to make money, go to a trade school because on average they are making more money much sooner after they get out of college with significantly lower student debts.
My dad went to college for computer science, and he realized that he didn't need any of it. And as of today, he is the director of mobile engineering for a large hotel chain.
See, and that is a good example of people who actually have a knowledge and understand they get into a field where you don't really need an education and background because you need the knowledge to be able to do the job. But college isn't the only way to get that education. Like IT, for example, we're all in the IT field. We all know we do not need a college education to IT and nerd the hell out when people literally we just tell them, hey, Google it. Because we literally figure everything out by just doing our own research, which is his own way of actually learning.
My grandfather and my dad did like money management for years when they were running their biker club. So
Right, and then that guy can be a straight up accountant. Now, see, the thing is, for me, it's like
think-
there's different. What would you more be reliable on, right? Say you're a customer. So we'll use construction companies for example. You're building your house. You want your dream home. What do you really want for? Who do you want to build your home? Who is it that you're going to go and seek after? The guy that's sitting outside with that does construction, because if you're in the construction field, you know how to understand who actually does the job and who doesn't. But now say you don't know anything about it. You're just a customer. You just want to build your home, your family. You're trying to start that life. Who are you going to rely on?
So, who am I going to rely on? If I knew, like they gave me all the information about the individuals that are going to work, they're going to be people with experience. I don't give a fuck about any prior college or schooling you had.
so. I think the
Meritocracy?
solution here
There-
is so much simpler. I'm not interviewing everyone in a construction company. I can just look on because everyone loves look at this podcast. We love our fucking own opinions, so they're gonna post on Yelp, give ratings and shit to a company. I'm gonna go based off of that. It's very simple. So it's like too easy.
Yeah,
I think that there's a lot of jobs that you probably so a college is a way to have your society have a certain standard of learning, so that if you get an engineer or an architect in this case, that you understand that that architect has a degree in architecture, right? And that they are going to have a certain standard of learning. It's not necessarily to guarantee that that person's going to be good at it. C's make degrees, but there is a certain standard of this school of thought, literally like the school of thought. So they teach them how to be an architect, and how to be an engineer.
Walker?
I think you're right.
And that's why college education, there's
some merit to
definitely a merit to having a college education.
There are
in a lot of
fields where you need
There
to
is.
have college education.
But I got a question.
Like
for you.
I don't want a
It goes back to
physicist.
that tribe aspect mentality where you
Yeah.
kind of like want to work and connect with the people that you want to be in the field of. So
That's where I started welding. My fucking town needed it, so I was like, fuck it. Money's being made here. They need welding. I'll always have a job. Let me do it. And it was growing up in the South. That's how it was. Like, for example, with y'all's example with eggs, I did buy eggs, but that's
Spell
because
it,
no one
spell
had
it,
chicken.
spell it.
Shut up. Shut up. Shut up.
Another
But we had cows. I had cows in my house, on my farm. So we never bought beef.
in your house. You say, I knew you were weird.
Hey, listen, when
He
you were
lived in
cold,
the chicken coop.
listen, when you were cold, cows warmed you up real quick. All right. But no.
Thanks for that.
But I got a question for you.
Yeah,
Walker.
the methane farts, those definitely warm up your house. Greenhouse gases, great.
See, the trick is though you had to take 6 showers a day to get it off. But you know that's a price to
Great.
pay.
I love
But
that. Thank
have
you.
you ever been to college?
No,
No, you haven't. So, I'm
I
sure.
joined the army, so I wouldn't have to go to college.
Yeah.
So
same.
I'm sure everyone can here agree you're a pretty intelligent dude, right? Obviously.
Fucking stupid.
Do not inflate my ego, please.
I'm
Don't feed the
inflating.
bears.
I'm feeding the bears. So he's proof
chicken.
of point right there. Like college is important for certain aspects of a job you need, like construction. Well, I should say engineering. Really, we had a individual
Engineering, the sciences,
Yeah.
medical.
stuff that is like so much
think-
knowledge that you need to go to a place that can concentrate all that knowledge that you need.
I
and then
think
build off of
business
it.
should also be a trade school.
Yeah.
I don't think that should be a fucking
Yeah.
4-year college degree. I think that's ridiculous.
Like
my uncle owns his own installation business here, out here in Washington, and he's never been to college. He just worked in the field forever, made enough money,
Yeah.
and ended up buying out.
Some of the
And
most
he's
wealthiest
successful,
people
right?
have never been to college.
Yeah.
Like
I think a lot of people have a misconception,
really
the understanding of what business schooling actually is. It teaches the fundamentals of what goes into the actual like big business. Like people starting like an LLC, like actually starting a company, can learn everything from the scratch, but just buy like practically like real estate.
it teaches you all those things. It teaches like different forms and how to file your taxes as a business. It teaches you organization structures of businesses.
Teaches you senses
teaches
of
the
taking
laws
care
of
people.
business. Business law is important
That's
too.
probably one of those jobs
That's
that,
the important part.
or
is
one of
the
those
laws, official state and
schools of
federal.
thought that you could learn by just doing it. Like
Yeah.
you could learn by working for someone and seeing what they do.
HVAC.
and being
Yeah, it's
being
almost-
attentive
almost
to
like
what
an
they do.
apprenticeship
So it's
almost.
almost like
they're called greenhorns. Hayes.
so there's a way to learn some fields, I think,
I'm
without
not
going to
joking.
college.
That's what they're called.
By like if you go into a tech like an IT field as like a low level and then learn that, you could be as good as someone who got a college degree, or the college degree might not be the same as your experience because you have so much experience in IT that you're just better than someone who's gone to college for it.
So this
But
is,
there are a lot of fields where a college degree makes more sense.
So, people listening, I'm not a very intelligent individual in the IT field, but these two are. The stuff we're learning here in the military, is that close to what the people in college when they go to IT for is learning?
So I don't know what they learn in college, but I know that
Well, I assume they know because there's, they do
Cisco
shit.
routing is Cisco routing regardless of where you are or what you've done.
There's industry standards everywhere.
And it's really not a college degree necessary field, even as long as you get a Cisco cert. And if you want to work for like a government contractor, you have a security plus cert and a security clearance. It's so, but whether or not you go to college or you learn it by doing it, Cisco routing is Cisco routing.
Like we were explaining about his father being such a student of his profession with inside that job. Yeah. He didn't need to go to college to do that. Just like the IT world, you really just don't, because it's all Cisco. Everything's switching around, and the one thing that we all know is that binary codes could be binary code.
Yeah.
But to bring it back around, the problem is
Zeros
like
and ones, guys.
people go into college for specifically learning like the technical fields, medical, IT, what have you. When there's an outside agenda, a political agenda in these colleges, it completely subverts and undermines exactly what college is supposed to be. Yeah. So
I've seen it in the college in my town. I forgot what it was called. It was Texas something.
Texas State University.
Oh, maybe. Who knows? I don't focus shit on that. It's not important. But
It's a wild guess there.
They Aggies or
and no, they were the in college. They were the Longhorns, I believe, or something like that in football. Anyways,
State Animal.
I'm sure that can apply to like 7 different
People-
fucking Texas universities.
people in Texas will understand. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Longhorns. I can just hear them now.
Longhorns. But my old man was showing me because my mom's going through college right now, and she was going through it, and she noticed one of the several of the students were their tests were different, and she put together that they were all of different ethnicities. Like you were saying, the Asians, they have their higher standard, is what you were trying to say, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of the questions on there, and my mom like studies like a motherfucker, and some of those questions on there that the person next to her who was Asian wasn't even covered in class, and they
I'm
expected
sure
to know
that's
that
probably
shit.
accurate.
And
so it's literally the University of Texas.
yeah,
Oh, there you go.
if they foreign, they don't belong.
Well, that's a different take. All right, moving on. So the Chinese version of Starlink is supposed
not
to
be
be a thing.
It's not my personal thought
There
either.
you
It was
go.
a joke.
Good job. Good
All
job.
right.
Good disclosure.
Yeah.
So the Chinese version of Starlink is theoretically going to be a thing by the end of the year, or at least the starts of it. Of course, this is something that can be achieved by China. What their intentions are, probably just be dicks.
So, he was
Probably
talking
just be
about
dicks.
this earlier. Weren't
Yeah,
you
so-
saying there's only 2,000 satellites in
So
our?
as of right now, when you combine all the nations together, there's roughly like 2,600 and something odd satellites in orbit right now, and China is literally trying to
Starlink alone has around 4,000 in LEO right now.
Oh, so maybe
Yeah.
I'm thinking of
You're probably thinking about geosync,
Yeah,
or
probably
geostationary as
Is
well.
this not geosync?
No,
No, we're talking low Earth
So
orbit.
Low Earth,
yeah,
okay.
low Earth orbit. They're planning on putting in, I think, 12,000. That was the estimated number that
They-
It's one of the
they're-
many reasons why
Starlink
Starlink
is
How
is
high
so
is low
fast.
Earth?
Starlink is just trying to get approval for 30,000 total.
It's where the ISS sits.
ISS is about 400-ish kilometers up.
So according to the internet, right, in 2022, there were an estimated total of like 7,000 satellites in space, active satellites.
Right.
In low Earth or full?
Yeah.
That did
So,
okay.
so both.
Okay,
All orbits.
that's
So-
not as much as I was expecting, honestly.
I'm sure if you look at
We're
the
not
number
including
of...
the debris.
Yeah, we're not
Well,
including the
I
debris.
assume that
Because like
if
that's
it's
where the
deb-
real number is.
If that's in the debris, it's probably like close to the millions.
So the with Leo and Leo is one of those just like the geosync belt, the Clark belt. It is such a highly internationally regulated area of space that, for example, Elon Musk has to get approval for every batch of satellites that go up. Right? Leo is is one of the secondarily valuable orbits of satellites out there.
Who?
Leo, low Earth orbit.
Who approves of these satellites getting sent out? Is it like collective?
That's a great
The FAA
question. There's like an
probably.
internet,
NASA.
FAA
So-
for the United States. There's a international committee
It's not-
as well.
I don't know what like kind of approval there is so much as there is just like a communication that goes on. It's like, hey, we're putting satellites here, so it's for space tracking as a whole throughout
There's
the
a-
international community. If you just put satellites in space and you don't tell anyone it's there, then someone else might put a satellite in the same orbit, and then eventually
I
smack
forget
into each other.
there's a committee. There's an international committee for the usage of space.
There's also
so they coordinate, like you said, positions, orbits, and stuff like that, altitudes, and that's all very important to mitigate collisions.
The cool thing about Leo is that when it comes to the Kessler syndrome idea of if something like breaks up in orbit and then that breakup causes other breakups to happen and you have this big like
Chain
chain
reaction
reaction that
yeah.
happens, Leo will probably only be out for like a few decades,
Which,
because the
granted-
debris is going to deorbit itself because it's still interacting with
granted,
the atmosphere.
I understand your sentiment, but like that's just 10 years of shit possibly hitting other shit. I don't like
Wait,
that.
so
Yeah.
It's not
that's
necessarily
cool.
good.
Well, we just wait 50 years like we did for the moon landings. How long ago was that? It's been a while.
it's been a minute.
It's been a while.
But
You
the
can wait.
the issue with China wanting to get into this game is a couple different factors. Personally, is one is it's going to clog up Leo. Elon Musk is trying to provide broadband internet services for an entire continent, rather than China just trying to set it up for
No,
just
the world.
China.
The world.
The world.
He doesn't care where you are. He'll
he's-
sell you a terminal.
He's trying to do worldwide communications. China is just trying to go. What they say right now is they're trying to go for just national communications. I have my notes. Hold on.
That doesn't surprise me coming from China.
I mean, it would be cool if Amazon, because they're going to get into this low Earth orbit like satellite broadband.
You want
game
to
soon.
redress your marine situation because that was in the last episode too.
I don't have it. We can do it next episode
Okay,
because
that's fine.
yeah.
And you're gonna forget, not
No, no,
bring
no,
it
no,
up.
no,
Then
no,
you're gonna say
no.
next episode.
Then we're going to do the episode, and he's going to scrub it.
So China plans to deploy 13,000 satellites to low Earth orbit.
That's almost double what we
How
have
is that
now.
not going to like reach the whole global market? I feel like they're going to give it to everyone.
With 13,000, like you'll have decent coverage.
Like, there's
but
no way they're not going to give that to the African
the
market.
saturation-
a lot
do
of
it.
balloons.
So this is another thing about
A person in the
this
fucking
issue
in the
is
balloon just
because China has quote unquote private companies. No company is private in China.
yeah.
So you have a bunch of different aerospace companies in China who are all banding together to get this shit done. They're planning to deliver 30 satellites for the project by the end of this year. The Chinese military claims that SpaceX intended for Starlink to be used for military purposes since the conflict in Ukraine.
Okay.
Because Elon Musk is belligerent in this war, basically. That's why he gave them the grounds to say that.
I mean, the idea that the Air Force didn't ask that, hey, maybe this private company that's providing telecom for like people from space, can you make sure like this is a possibility for us to use in the future? I don't think that's unreasonable. I don't think they orchestrated the whole thing. That's weird.
Isn't the name of the fucking company in China that's doing this is like Galaxy Space or some shit like that?
There's so many different names for these. There's a China Academy of Space and Technology and Innovation Academy for microsatellites. I'm sure it has a beautiful name in Chinese.
Sounds like a poem.
Probably
Yeah.
means like mist in the wind or some shit. Who knows?
Yeah, there's so many different
Just don't say it in Mandarin. It makes
private
me
companies who are
Completely
working
different
together.
meaning.
But
Completely
you know what's stopping them from making spy satellites and all this other shit? What's
Yeah.
stopping them from collecting data when people start using this service?
So
Nothing really.
If you use anything Chinese, it's probably collecting data on you already. TikTok is, one of the greatest national security issues or cybersecurity issues
Yeah.
of our time.
Yeah, that chair you're sitting on, that's
if-
made in China. They're collecting the shape of your ass. Watch
If
out.
You
nice.
They have a catalog of everyone's
so
ball print.
freaking out,
Yep.
like a lot about it is kind of weird because obviously they would do this. Like,
Yeah.
this is kind of obvious. Like,
Yeah.
just so
just
they,
heads
they
up.
can just make spy satellites too. Like,
Yeah.
just
Hey, is
just
it-
because they're making a new Leo constellation, doesn't
Israel
mean, like,
did.
oh, we have to be scared about it.
Isn't
They're
North
just
Korea
making
launching a spy
satellites
sat?
anyway.
They're just doing it anyway.
I don't care.
I find
Maybe
it funny, even Chinese, if you get like things made in China that like stuffed animals. My dog ripped one open. Not even kidding. There was a piece of cardboard that were in two of the ones that we got from a bundle pack from my
Oh, that
kids.
sounds like they fucked up the packaging.
Oh no, they had a piece of paper on it and they had writing on it and they had something stuck in the cardboard and I broke it, but it was like hard and metal.
Congrats, you should probably move. Your house is cursed now.
Oh, it was super weird, but if you like translate the actual wording, it was just derogatory words like dick and like small penis. It's really weird.
Fucking awesome.
Like, and this is like coming from the manufacturers. They stuff it into these.
That
like,
is
it was
hilarious.
It was just like little tiny unicorn cat thing.
Dude, they're
that was for,
sending
like,
bad
5
vibes
years.
over to you.
So bad. Like
That
I was
is
just
funny.
like, these guys are really bored out of their minds.
That
but
is
they're
funny.
Still, they're like, Americans are gonna buy this.
Yeah,
I'm
they're
going to
they're
do it.
sick of their job. That's what it
Imagine
is.
having to like sleep where you work as well. Like,
Yeah,
you
you'd
know,
be disgruntled too.
They get a
guess
bag
this
of
is their way of
imagine
trying
like
to
a
get
bag
back
of
There's
chips.
safety nets so you
Imagine
can't
having
throw
to
yourself
sleep
off the
where I
building.
work.
Yeah, imagine a bag of chips split 20 ways. That's your lunch for a
You guys-
Chinese
okay,
worker.
so hold on. We're thinking about this whole thing. They're always China is always in competition with everything, especially with the Starlink thing. Right now, they just want to have their name
It's
out
like
there
their
in
shtick.
everything.
They reverse engineer everything, literally everything.
So we need to stop saying they. All right.
them.
Or them.
Why?
Hang on.
We're
Hang on
actually-
there. Hang on there.
Because it's not them. There are individuals in China that aren't like, oh yeah, fuck every other state. It's the people in charge. Let's be fair.
Okay.
Sure.
Maybe that's who
In that
we're.
same concept,
maybe that's
when
where
we say-
maybe that's who we're addressing.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
We're literally talking
It's
about.
not okay to make
Yeah, there we go.
Technically, the
That,
people
we're gonna
in
scrub
power
the whole
of China.
episode now.
That is literally what we're
Do you
talking about.
remember the fighter that the United States had that shot down that satellite? Do you know which one it was?
That was the F-35, wasn't it?
F-35.
Walker will know about that.
So there was an F-22
F-22,
firing a modified AIM-9 X-ray missile at the spy balloon. Oh, you're talking about the satellite anti-satellite test? That was an F-15 with a
Yeah, that was forever
basically
ago.
one-off missile.
The one
That program wasn't ever widely produced, or it didn't come into anything like widely produced, except for I think there was like special mission timing stuff because the timing of that shot had to be super precise. So now like a lot of mission timing stuff came out of that, but there was no like like anti-satellite weapons program that continued through that, but it wasn't F-15.
Yes,
It did work,
and
yes.
it wasn't ASAT missile. More recently, the Navy fired, I think it was like an SM-6 or something that shot a satellite down. So it's like from a ship, you can fire a missile that'll take down low Earth orbit satellites. There's also, people don't know this, like I think 4 radars that just scan everything in orbit in the United States, like huge phased array radars. It's all like, you would call it open source intelligence if you're a faggot, but what's the timestamp there? So if you want to be gay about it, call it open source intelligence, but it's just things that are public knowledge.
All right, folks. We're going to join back after this break where we're going to talk about apparently China trying to develop more about quantum communication networks in Mio and Hio. So catch us back after the break.
I dare you to say that to me again.
All right, welcome
the show.
back.
You're not even a mic.
Stop choking on cock, you douche.
Whoa. What's the time?
He can't help it. He's
Yo, what's
hungry.
the timestamp?
What's the faggin' timestamp?
Nobody say the gamer word.
The gamer word?
Welcome back. We're diving into the whole China trying to do their quantum communication network in Mio and Hio.
It doesn't exist unless you've seen a video of it working.
China
doesn't exist.
China's
Just definitely
China
doesn't exist.
China is China, so they're going to say anything to make them sound more sophisticated and technologically impressive.
Very honorable.
They are going to try.
Japanese, by the way.
Sorry.
I know. That's the joke.
What in the
That's
South Park is going on here?
Sorry.
Y'all trying to get a
So-
kid for Comedy Central?
So there's
close.
I'm too
so there's a
edgy.
meme online where when someone posts some like random bullshit Chinese thing, someone will post a copy pasta that starts with the word impressive, which is impressive with an L sound because
Impressive.
the accent.
Or you could
They
just
took
get
it
a
in a
Jell-O
Japanese
ramen.
way, but
Right over
Oh God, yeah. Remember their fucking 5-minute crafts thing? Jesus, we need to do that live again.
Which one? Which
just
one?
like
The
freaking
ramen
the fuck
one
out
where
over
they
the
run
milk.
over it?
We gotta record that again.
Which part?
A 5-minute crafts where they took the marker on the top ramen and flipped onto a piece of paper, and out came a bunch of Chinese characters. Yeah, that's a thing that 5-minute crafts did.
So
Cox.
good.
Cox, it was a Japanese character.
Oh, the fact of the matter is that was
Moon runes. They were moon runes underneath the ramen.
so. Yeah, China is apparently trying to do their quantum entanglement communications in Mio and Hio. Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it.
So
And
let's say,
into yourself,
flavor, you idiot.
into yourself, the front part of the mic. Fucking
so
Both of you, shut the fuck up.
let's say it actually does eventually play out, and it's like not just the Chinese. And now, what you were saying earlier about how the quantum computing can reach out to any
Entanglement
can go like as far as the galaxy can reach, right?
It
Do you
can
think
it can go across the observable
Anywhere.
universe. Yeah.
Exactly. Do you think
The render distance of the universe.
if that is eventually
That's
a
good.
capability
That's
that
good.
we can have, do you
We're on
think
a
that we're going to
2080.
be like mining a lot more using AI style robots to like for like precious metals and stuff like that because it'll be a lot easier to control.
I mean,
at
let's
vast distances.
let's take a look at what we do right now with rovers and quote unquote autonomous vehicles in space. So, all of our space missions that we have launched, there's been very few where we have done active corrections to do something different. Basically, when NASA is coming up with a mission plan, they're using a combination of Newtonian physics that take it. So let's say, we want to do a tour around the solar system. You do the math and it gives you a route and where you need to launch from angles. That way gravity just takes you along that journey. The Martian rovers, right? There's on average about a 20-minute delay, 12 to 20-minute delay between actual normal conventional radiation or EMF that we use to actually communicate with, like radios and stuff. And so there's a delay. So the data we get back, so we send a command, say, okay, rover, go 5 yards front. That command takes 20 minutes to get there, right? And then it does it. And then it's going to send whatever images that we tell it to do. So experiments, imagery, and that takes 20 minutes to get back. So it's about 40 minutes round trip for you to get results, really. And depending on like data size and what we're collecting there, it can take longer.
Realistically, I don't think there's an economic reason to be mining in space until we have colonies in space.
Yeah.
Because there's no point in bringing something from space, no matter what you do. There's nothing that's going to justify the economic cost of going to space and bringing something back when you can get it on Earth.
What's going to...
Unless, because I think Neil deGrasse Tyson on Joe Rogan's podcast said something about like the price of water in space is like $10,000 a pound. But what if you get like a comet and you lasso this comet and you bring it into low Earth orbit and you sell it to NASA for $9,000 a pound? Then there's an economic reason to do that. But there's not a real reason to mine things in space. Go ahead.
Side note, sorry. Remember when I told you during that ruck that I had 8 pounds of water?
Yes.
You made fun of me because it's like a gallon or like 2
Yeah.
gallons or something.
I remember that.
Side note.
Yeah. 8 pounds of water. He said 8 pounds of water. I was like, oh, a gallon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, Walker's absolutely right. There's like, you have to have economic incentive to be mining out in space in general. And what we can probably theorize is if we get to a point where we have shipyards in space and we have processing facilities in space, it would be much more economic to mine your material while out in space already than have to cart it up the heavy ass ore from Earth up into space. So that's probably where another tangent of what Walker's
So what
saying.
you probably see first is with quantum entanglement communication, if that's a physical possibility, because I honestly don't trust a lot of the things about quantum mechanics because it's just weird. It's spooky physics.
Yeah.
So if you can come up with a way to communicate over like a quantum entanglement link, you would have, I guess, a communication station on Mars where we have our colony that's trying to communicate to Earth in near instant or instant communication. So I guess you'd have quantum mechanics over IP or QoIP.
And like
a QoIP communication.
Yeah, there's
where you,
It's squeak.
where you have
I'm so using that from now on. We're still going.
so you have
everywhere.
QoIP, right? A QoIP communication where it would just like
Kippernet.
so you just have basically like the whole planet's internet connected to a QoIP connection to the
This is a thing
to
now,
Earth,
like-
and then
there's
you basically have one network, one internet for the entire solar system.
Now the craziest part.
there's different theories of how you can actually do it, right? Of course, China is saying that they're going to accomplish this, which is the main question. Quantum mechanics is very counterintuitive to what everyone sees on the macro scale. And keep in mind that quantum mechanics is the realm of the small. Like it dictates atomic scales, right? So we have phenomena like quantum tunneling, quantum entanglement, and these are all things that we've observed and we understand. The difficulty is coming with establishing things. We create quantum entangled pairs quite often in Large Hadron Collider, among other places. So creating these things is known to us. The more interesting thing is like the fundamental practical use of this system, right? In quantum communication, basically the idea is that every particle has, say, we're going to go super like basic level layman's terms. We have an orientation, say up and down, okay? Now, one particle over here, okay, and keep in mind, there's no matter the distance. So like I said in my example talking to you guys earlier, is we can be 100,000 light years on the other side of the Milky Way galaxy, and we have a quantum entanglement pair that can influence each other when you interact with them. And how we interact with atoms is through lasers. And so what we're seeing here is we're doing a one-way. So this is simplex, right? We're sending over here, receiving over here, dedicated, right? I'm going to pulse a laser at this atom, and it's going to change the state. And at the same time, this atom's state is going to change as well. So the other side's going to flip. And so we can observe these things and changes every say like a bit rate. We see.
Let's say you have a left hand spin be a 1 and a right hand spin be a 0, and you change between those two to send bits.
It's not even
across the universe.
it's not even that. It's so
What
much
about
more.
sending people?
It's much more simpler than that. It is looking at changes per second. So if we don't see a change, because you can falsely interpret that as if there was no change over here, you can falsely interpret that as a 1. So what you can do is you can just say, okay, I'm
have
expecting
like a better FEC rate.
I'm expecting X change per second, and I'm going to constantly observe that and see if any changes happen from the previous one, and that could be your 1s and 0s. And so you do that
QoIP modem.
so yeah, you do that so often, so like gigahertz or higher, depends on because this is probably going to have some sort of quantum computer attached to it for error correction and all these other things that are necessary in normal communication.
You could already have a computer detect these changes, most likely.
You can have them detect it, but do we have computers that are fast enough to actually, one, handle the quantum error, which is a whole other field of quantum computing, is actually quantum error correction. Because keep in mind, if a bee
instead of feck, we have quack.
Yeah,
Hey,
if a bee
layman question. So it wasn't the difficulty, or isn't still the difficulty? Tell me if I'm wrong. It's observing things without influencing the object.
Yeah.
so that's exactly what I was
Okay.
saying. Is so like that's why we have a transmit side and a receive side over here.
Yeah.
Let's say we want to give transmit over here.
So how do you observe it without influencing it and knowing that it's changing or not changing?
That's just it. So like
Is that the hard part?
if we were to put it on a time scale, if we want to put it on a time scale here, this is my transmit bit, is what we'll call it, my transmit atom. I'm hitting it with a laser to denote a change, right? And so if I change the state of the atom, that's a 1. If I leave it alone, that's a 0. And then we'll create an ambiguous term, say check rate, which is how often the receive side needs to be checking that atom for a change, which denotes whether or not a 1 should be present, right? So let's say, for example, we have a check rate of 1 time per second. So I'm going to send 001 as a super basic one. So the transmit side is going to not change the atom, then hit it with a laser to change the state. Get it? And so this side is going ahead and check it. On that last one, we saw that it actually changed. So therefore, that must be a 1. So in that span of 3 seconds, we know that's 001. Right? The same principle occurs with our standard communication now.
How are they identifying the connection between the two atoms? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
This is where that's far too deep. That's far too deep down the rabbit hole.
I'm getting the theory down on what you're explaining, but it's honestly, it's down. If we go down that rabbit hole, am I not on the mic?
No, it's facing me. Remember the label? There you go.
Oh, look, literally like a.
Yeah,
you literally have a pinpoint.
Oh yeah, that's it, baby.
There it is. Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
Jesus Christ, Hayes, stop.
Oh, I get this now.
Yes.
I'm so sorry. I've been talking to the side of it. My apologies.
I know it's a habit to like want to turn, but we have to like
I'm gonna talk in the back of the mic.
do that.
Can I go to the?
Shut the
can I
fuck
go to
up.
mic?
So you say we would have to go down the rabbit hole pretty deep to understand the connection between those two atoms.
There are certain equations and stuff like that and certain actions that you do that actually show how to create these quantum entangled pairs. And so in our simplex example, right, we would have to have every station would have to have a transmit and receive side, right, to make it as simple as possible. And so on this side now we want to add transmission. We just copy and paste what we have over here, but flip the roles, right? And so now I'm sending bits over here, and so you can have duplex communication at any distance instantaneously using this quantum system. And just like Walker said, like let's say we have like a Martian ground station for quantum entanglement communication, and then outside of that we just have normal electromagnetic radiation communication that goes out from there. So we're cutting down on latency time. Instead of like 20 minutes, now we're at like milliseconds like we have on terrestrial communication. And so if China is able to do this, of course I would have to be like physically seeing, because you shouldn't believe China when it comes to anything. Like you can't believe them with COVID, you can't believe them with this shit either.
They literally love to fabricate themselves as the best. Just
Oh,
to make
absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's like a dick sizing contest between countries.
Yeah, always has been.
It's just
always
weird
strange.
though. It's like, who gives a shit? Honestly, who actually gives a shit?
But diving in, let's go ahead. I have some.
I bet you do.
I have some little clips that we want to show. Everyone should be able to let's see. So these clips are little side notes here. I want to play this clip. It is quite long, but I think it's important. So everyone has seen this clip, right? This is the most hilarious clip.
Yeah, no, I've seen it when it has Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah, the edit of this
Yeah.
is with Jabba the Hutt. So this is the Whatever podcast. Phenomenal place.
I'm gonna look it up.
And they have hilariously done this. And I want you to listen carefully, okay? I want you to realize, I want you to keep in mind who is upset here. Okay. And by the way, so the large entity that we see on screen, that is a man.
Oh.
That is a man.
Okay.
Okay. Now just look at the scale of things. Look how massive this entity is compared to the actual woman.
Choose to go on hormones.
You don't.
I did.
You
No,
didn't
I
choose.
did,
Hold on.
however-
you didn't
Let
choose
her
to put a.
finish.
No.
No.
She said her piece, and I'm going to ask a couple questions so that she can clarify.
She didn't finish her statement.
I'm going to. I will let her finish, but I'm going to ask a couple questions so she can clarify. My questions are: you didn't choose to go on hormones. You don't choose to dress this way. You don't choose to identify as a woman. You don't choose to wear a weave. You don't choose to put on makeup and present yourself as a woman.
So it's the same way for you, though. It's like me asking you, like, oh, did you choose to wear that shirt today? Because to you, it's not.
Okay, so first off, let's stop for a second. So who do we see that was angry?
Man, this is a quantum jump.
All of the women.
The other person, that singular woman, right, who was of a different, because everyone else is white from what I can see, she was the only one that was angry.
Yeah.
The person that he was talking to, the other man, was just answering a question and having a cordial conversation. And like he asked a question. It's like, so you don't make the choice. And he responded.
I mean, it was partially incoherent, but it wasn't
It was partially incoherent because it doesn't make sense.
But it wasn't disrespectful.
But it was a civil conversation.
Yeah, that's so
Yeah.
good.
There's
I
the
love
edit.
it so
There's the edit. I've also seen clips of like, oh, so here we have Ashley, Tiffany, Gorlock the Destroyer, and Simon. Yeah, it's such great stuff. The memes that came out of that. So instantly, this person's getting really uppity and defensive, and they're just casually
Did you really just say
asking questions. Yes,
uppity?
just asking questions. Okay. Now let's
What
continue.
the fuck did I just? Yeah, you saw it's not even like the thing you were showing. No,
There's a
Wait,
twist
wait,
off
wait,
top,
wait, wait.
and I opened
Natural,
it
right?
with my
It's 100%
bicep.
Natural.
Sorry.
I want to fuck you so bad right now.
Oh my gosh.
Because, you know, it looks good on you. That's what you like. So that's, you know, everything that you choose to do, everyday hygiene to you, that's your normal. To me, this is my normal. I didn't choose it. If I think like, oh, like, you know what? Like, I like these hair extensions because they look good and because it's feminine. My energy is feminine.
Definitely
So-
chose the spoon over the fucking.
So
hairs.
the logic there is that this is my normal. It's not a choice. Okay, first off, transgenderism is a choice, and the sort of like aha got you, or the logic that was trying to be presented was, well, you chose that shirt, or like that shirt is normal because you can't say that you chose because everyone chooses what they wear in the morning. Everyone chooses to take a shower.
yeah.
There is personal choice. There's personal responsibility with everything you do in your life. But for some reason, transgenderism is different. No. This person.
By the way,
I'm the
Cornet,
one who
you're not
chooses
twink
every
enough for
morning
me, so I'm
to have a
choosing to turn
big
you
pair
down.
of balls like under my scrotum every morning.
This person-
I put them on. They're in my closet. I
Let's
put
be
them
real.
on.
They're not big, Hayes.
They're bigger than yours.
This person chooses to dress like that and to be a woman. Okay.
Small pee, big ball energy.
Who
That's
has
all
the
I'm
bigger
gonna
balls?
say.
Let's continue.
Okay. But
Wait.
still, like, to me,
Start over.
these choices, it's not like
It's innate.
it's not like I went out of my way and be like, you know what? I'm going to wake up today and I'm going to be I'm going to do this. I'm going to present female. Yeah, technically,
You went
speaking,
out of your way to do those things.
Technically,
You
I
go out
was
of your way to
already
get a
doing
haircut.
them. I was already doing
Aha,
them.
got you. You went out,
Clap back.
you went out of your way to get a haircut. That was the rebuttal there. You see how nonsensical, and that's why this whole transgender argument doesn't work ever. The moment you question it, they literally cannot fucking argue it. Is you are choosing to put on a wig, you are choosing to wear these clothes, you are choosing to put on makeup. This is a choice. And the rebuttal is you went out of your way to get a haircut.
Can you like explain to me what they're trying to their argument point on their side? What is it?
So
what is it that they're trying to
his
argue?
argument is a very standard conservative argument that transgenderism is a choice, that people are making the decision to be the opposite gender.
Okay,
And these women or these two women rather, because everyone else is silent. The man and the woman are arguing like, no, this is just normal for me. It's not a choice, right? But they're all of their examples are
what is that going based off? How is it not a choice? Why is it a
Because
psychological
it's-
development?
it's incorrect.
It's an ideological position that they're taking.
Yes, it is an
and
ideological
it's not
position.
scientific, and it's not objective.
so now it's becoming a necessity instead.
It is just
of a
nature.
choice.
they're only trying to.
they are trying to fabricate their
Cody.
own nature.
Cody. They're only trying to pass it off as a legitimate like point to like hold on to. Like this is objective.
Yes, they are
It
trying
is
to say
an ideological point.
they're trying to say like, no, they're creating their own nature. They're like, no, it's in my nature, so I didn't choose this.
And their only rebuttal is to look at
They're
the man
only-
saying that everything that he says is natural about himself, or what he perceives
they're
to be
only-
as a natural construct,
Yeah.
would be that it's not choice.
They're
Now,
only-
what if you just argued the point saying, okay, what if me being a man is a choice?
their only rebuttals
What if I just say
were
everything's a choice?
the only rebuttals
I chose to
were
be
things
6'2".
that were objectively
see,
a
if
choice.
we go there, right, that'd be funny because then we could talk about like gay
is,
people again.
This is kind of like the rejecting reality
Remember that
or
conversation
rejecting
from a decade
objective
ago?
truth conversation we
Yeah.
had earlier.
Yeah, they are relying on rebuttals, which are unironically
Reject my
Based
reality
off of
with
his
my,
choice.
Reject your reality with my own.
Let's continue.
Why did I
That's
stop
not
doing it?
anywhere near
Because
as
of
smart
what
as you
other
thought
people
that was.
think. No,
Okay, so I'm going to go back to the
say
original
that.
question. You said it's my job as a Christian, godly man to be tolerant because that's what Christians are supposed to do. My original question is God tolerant?
I think it's your job to mind your business.
No, my question
Got
to you
him.
is God
Stupid.
tolerant?
So
You
I do
projected
want
Yeah,
to point
I would
out
say
that
God is tolerant.
so in the Bible,
Tolerant
God
or
has
not a
genocided
virtue?
whole races for
Oh, God.
groupthink, and Jesus beat the shit out of a room full of people for doing things he didn't like.
Yeah.
Tolerance
let's
is
continue
not a
because
Christian
so this is the thing is this woman, of course, all these leftists are not educated. They're educated in the incorrect, and we're about to continue it again. They are educated in the wrong way, and so they think they know things. So she's about to school him on
Yeah, educate me.
In
religion.
Genesis, yes, I will. I will educate you on exactly what the Word of God says. In Genesis, it says that when God created mankind, he made them male and female. And in Leviticus, it says for a male to have sexual relations with another man as he would with a woman. That is an abomination in God's eyes.
How many times has the Bible been translated? How many times has the
As
Bible
an
been
Orthodox Jew,
translated?
is this correct?
Can you let me respond if you're going to make a statement to me before you bring someone else into it, so I don't forget what I'm going to say?
I want to hear what you have to say.
Woman
but
moment.
This is correct, is it not?
I don't know what the words are. I don't know what Leviticus would be in Hebrew because like that's how I learned everything in Hebrew. But the biggest thing that we harp on in Judaism is a man should not lie in bed with another man, and then we take that to mean don't.
Do you
be
guys
gay.
know that that scripture was changed so many times though? Let me.
All right, this is the point I'm going to address for her real quick because I've heard this so many times from leftists about how you can combat the Bible by saying how many times it's been translated. This is what you respond with, gentlemen. Okay. You hopefully they might be bilingual, right?
I know how to respond to this one.
Oh, I do.
Oh,
too.
you know a
I
little
have a
bit of
good
German.
idea.
So if I were to take you, right, the Bible was firstly originally written in Aramaic, and it was translated into Greek, and then into Latin, and then into German. So yeah, she is right that it has been translated multiple times. But the great thing
Romance
is,
languages.
the great thing is that the
Define romance.
Oh, that's funny.
language.
I
Define
never
romance
mind.
language.
That's
Hayes.
funny. That's funny.
the,
Fuck you.
the great thing is
Define it. What does
no,
it mean?
No, fuck off. We're
You
not
don't
doing
even
it.
understand
Hold
what
on.
that means.
I want to hear what he has to say.
The great thing is that somebody who's bilingual can immediately take a language that they hear and convert it into the other language and be absolutely confident that is an accurate translation of that word. So if somebody can speak Aramaic, I am 100% positive they can give us a phenomenal translation of the original Bible into English and likely result in what we have today.
Yeah.
Of course, there's different
Now-
versions.
I just want to say one thing. My argument that I always have with the same concept is in every religion, if you look into it, is there anybody or any understanding of any religion that you know of that actually allows anybody to be gay? Or does
Not the
anyone know a
successful
religion
ones.
that even makes this a topic or completely ignores it? Like it's not even important for that to be a topic.
Yes and no.
Yeah, so Cornette's going to raise his hand and say paganism.
I'm also.
but
And
most-
pagan,
This
yes.
is actually that's actually one of the religions I'm
But most
thinking
of them became Catholics.
So I know that the
Doesn't
Old
mean it doesn't
Norse
exist.
said it. They did think it was wrong to be gay, but they didn't think it was wrong if you were the active participant. Only if you took it in the ass. If you're the one putting it in the ass, that was fine.
So,
That's Cornette, and I would be the one on the other side.
Oh shit!
so you heard him, folks. We won't be in the podcast anymore. We
But
got
I,
the
like I
fuck.
said, I chose to tell you that I'm turning you down because you're not the twink type for me. So
that hurt my soul.
I'm sorry.
Nah, but legitimately, so not to throw him out. Can you time this just in case he doesn't want to name it? Are you Are you Nordic paganism anymore or no?
I thought he was about to ask him if he was gay.
Parker,
I was waiting for that. Do you still suck dick?
Parker, do you take it up the ass?
This guy straight up just
waiting
gave me the
for it.
gnarliest look, and I'm like, is he about to ask me this right after he got turned down? Oh my god.
Trying to open his options up so bad.
Bro, please suck my
that
dick.
hit him hard.
Bro, please.
That is
But
hilarious.
to answer your original question, I am still in study in understanding of Atreya, the actual name of the tradition of what they would call North paganism, because I still think it's not right to call it North paganism when that was actually a falsified way to call it based off a different religion because they did not like them.
Yes.
So I personally believe that labeling it a name like that is actually.
So how would
derogatory
you
towards
differentiate Nordic paganism from Germanic paganism or Latin
it.
paganism?
Just take away paganism.
Well,
Because paganism is
paganism is literally
I
anything
mean,
other
to
than
do that,
Christianity.
you're gonna have to centralize
that is
it
just a
somehow.
concept of saying,
So what
hey,
would you
we're
call it?
Christian and we're identifying
It would
you
be
as
a
a
Nordic religion of what?
Well, no. It's just if we're going to be equal to every concept and ideology, whatever the fuck, we
Because
just want to be.
Wotan is different than Zeus.
Right.
Those are both pagan religions.
I get that.
So
but,
how do you differentiate
But
it?
that means that the Christian church is approving this. You get what I'm saying?
No, it doesn't.
I think
where did-
I think
where did
Christianity and
paganism-
Catholicism have a very strong history of not approving paganism.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
I think
not in a
wars
not
were
in a
fought
literal
over it.
term.
I'm not sure.
That's good.
But just like giving it a
No,
title,
no, that's
we,
the
we gave a
Muslims.
bunch of different religions
With two
titlements
O's.
by calling it paganism. Like you were saying, you're just identifying
Well, yeah,
multiple
because
different religions.
tragic.
right?
Unfortunately,
Paganism.
like you understand what you're saying, but pagan is literally a term
Realistically,
that
the-
covers all those ambiguous religions.
So
Based off what?
realistically, the pantheons of those
International human
religions
consensus.
are all
That is what it's based on.
very,
No, that's
very
not that.
similar.
I know, but
So
who
Wotan
gave
is
it
the
that
same
name?
as Odin, right? Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
So it's the same as like the Roman pantheon of gods and the Greek pantheon of gods are the fucking same thing. They just call them different.
His
things.
question is, who gave it the name pagan?
Yes. It's like calling
But that's
someone an alien.
that's the modern English language.
Yeah, it's like
so
who,
whether or
who
not
would be,
you
who would
agree
be
with
asking
the English
who
language,
called what it called
there's
who called
not
an
another
apple
word.
apple.
So there's not another word to describe that, right? If you say, well, apple's actually a term made up by the Catholics to disparage the people who practice these religions.
Yeah.
It's-
Parker,
right.
would you rather
Like you
just
can't
use-
find the
we call it a
definition.
fucking apple in English.
I'd
So
just
what would you
rather
call
just
it?
take away the name? of
No.
paganism.
So
Would you-
Nordic what?
No.
It's Nordic what?
No, Parker. Would you rather
Nordic
just
what?
It's
use?
actually a real name. There's an actual name to it.
Would you rather just say
I
non-Abrahamic
said it
Norse
earlier.
religion? Like
So-
that's weird.
So in my ideal of it, paganism as a whole, yes, is a term for that the Christians use to kind of throw a veil over the entire
I'm still studying. I don't
sect
know
or
anything
whatever.
about it.
But paganism, in my eyes, is more of a naturalistic religion where it like you see signs in different animals or what have you along those lines. So when it comes to like Norse pagan with me, and when I follow this path, like if I see certain animals when I'm doing certain things, like the time I ended up going to the ER when I fucking cut my eyeball.
What a fun story.
Yeah. I was dumb. Wear your eye pro for those new guys. But no, like our tent caught fire that field. I fucking cut my eye, my cornea. Like I was just going through it. But like when we were driving out to the field, the Styx lane, I saw a huge fucking raven, like basically sitting in the middle of the road, and it was not moving up until like my driver slowed down, and it was like, okay, I am seeing that there is a message, and I don't understand what it is. Now, for most of you, you probably know that Odin speaks through ravens, that they're his messengers and stuff like that. I believe that it was definitely a sign that, hey, you're gonna get some shit here soon. Fucking cut my cornea, went to the ER, stuff like that. Seeing like going on a walk and seeing like a fox kind of like mind its own business is a sign of luck. So it's a naturalistic religion, like paganism as a whole. In my
And yeah, I understand that. I think that's the general consensus across it. But if people like, it's kind of funny to me that yes, there's the point of that. You know, Christianity, I guess, could be responsible for giving the term pagan. Yeah. But I don't hear anybody else using any other words. Like
Also,
you would think that the pagans, like how we have Christianity, Lutheranism, Catholics. We have Benedictines.
So up until Jesus came about, Judaism and Christianity were basically the same religion. But you know what's funny?
So are we attributing this to the loss of history?
Yes,
and
I would think so.
And are you saying that there's nobody who continued paganism that has the original names of these different sects of? Because I'm sure there's different sects of paganism.
Well, it wasn't centralized like other religions.
Yeah, and it actually varied between tribe, if I'm not mistaken. It was a regional thing.
I'd like to make another point.
What it was originally, when you actually try to look back at the times when they actually looked at the research, and especially in what the fuck country was it?
We have Norway. We have
Scandinavia,
Ethiopia.
What the fuck was it? I'm fucking so lost. I don't really know this much. Right, it was Scandinavia. Okay, all right. Let me think. Oh god, it's been a while.
You know, all the countries with a cross on their flags.
See, the craziest part is, okay, for me personally, I'm not really religious in any
There's that vexology coming in.
so good. No, in any aspect. Just to clarify, I just like researching it because in sociology, this is a big thing when it comes down to, shepherding a shit ton of fucking people and getting them to do what you want. Like what every country does in beginning of fucking time. So the one thing that I do see is that Christianity obviously pulls
He's Nordic,
the
apparently.
most weight on every damn country, right? Because everybody's Christian. Everybody believes in God and believes in this construct of this ideal behind the Bible.
Well, I will say this, that
everything's centralized.
I agree with you. The Bible is responsible for all of Western society, our moral compass, our laws. Of course, that's being challenged more or less today, but we can thank most of our laws for Christian morals.
What's the term when you pray to an idol?
Idolatry.
Idolatry?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So doing a little religious research with Ashay, loves religion. He knows fucking more than anyone I know about it. He loves talking about it. But doing my own research, like when Jewish people are asked, okay, if you had to choose to go visit a church or go visit a mosque, which one would you be allowed to go into? You know which one they would choose? Every single time? A mosque. Because even though the Muslims have their prophet Muhammad, whatever, the Jewish people and the Muslims actually share the same God. But in the Jewish eyes, Christianity as a whole is a idolization of Jesus and God.
There's I don't think it's necessarily idolization.
Is there a part in the Quran that states that speak kindly of the Christian because they're the closest to you in faith? So I feel like that's it's not necessarily accurate.
So hang on.
He's describing. He's describing
Yeah.
like extremely Orthodox Judaism, like the ones that are, because there are Jews that are like Jews for
Hasidic?
Jesus. Yeah, the Hasidic ones are definitely probably the ones you're describing the most.
That makes sense.
So there's also, because a lot of people get confused about Catholicism because we had this discussion a while back about saints, and people think that it's idolatry of saints. And the belief in Catholicism is that the saints have ascended to heaven, and you are asking, when you pray to the saints, you are asking them to pray for you.
Intercession.
So yeah,
is the word.
You're asking them to pray for you and with you. So it's not necessarily like, you pray to Saint Benedict or you pray to the Virgin Mary. Is you are praying for them to pray for you.
It's coming from a guy wearing a rosary right now.
Yeah, just
I know, right?
letting you know.
Hey, so Walker,
by the way,
I just in the Quran that Christians, they in the Quran it said. Can you say that again so I can try to make sure I say this right?
I think the term is like people of the book.
People of Christianity were the closest to their faith. That's what you pretty much said. Okay, so that means that obviously it wasn't as original as we planned, or the Quran is altered because someone must have put that into the Quran after Christianity became a thing. Because the Quran and Judaism was way before Christianity, right?
Okay,
You're 100% incorrect on that.
Are we arguing the chronology of the religion?
The chronology of this is that Judaism comes first, Christianity comes second,
right.
And then after Christianity had been founded as a religion, the Prophet Muhammad decided to create the religion of Islam.
Okay, so then, all right, now I got you. I got it confused. I was thinking.
No, the Muslim religion is not older than Christianity.
It is in fact younger.
Okay, that makes more sense. Thank you. Thank you. I was sitting there thinking, I got that shit back.
And now that we have kind of described our, go ahead.
One last thing. I can't even tell you, like even online, the last time I heard like the word or read the word pagan as a derogatory statement. That's another thing. Like, maybe like a couple hundred years ago.
Yeah,
that would be a thing.
like medieval England, medieval Europe.
With all the talk of the modern world, like everyone's got to be inclusive and tolerant. Look, I've never heard anyone really use the word in its like original like pagan.
Right, and it was definitely medieval Europe.
Go to the south.
Wilson's special.
If
the guys who speak to snakes,
also depending on
they'll say pagan.
So thinking of this as well is that the terms pagan. It's funny because the branching out from like Christianity and like how opposed America is now to, and the powers that be, how opposed they are to Christianity or any religion at that matter, especially Christianity, any sect of Christianity. They're so opposed to it. And it's just human nature to go seek out something. So somebody who renounces religion, becomes an atheist, but then goes into spiritualism, which is in of itself another type of religion. So we have like Buddhism and stuff like that, where they go to more spiritual means, Wiccan and stuff like that. And so I think it's just this natural human inkling that they need to believe in something greater
everything that I've said
than just a rock adrift in space.
This is coming from a person with 666 tattooed on his thigh. So,
So I thought that was 999. My bad.
So we kind of all described our theological beliefs, I guess. Let's talk about our next topic, sex work. What do you guys think about sex work, huh?
Kind of sexy.
It's
great
important.
stuff.
Yeah.
Prostitution should be illegal,
100%.
Yeah.
but not necessarily pornography.
Yeah, so these are kind of
I don't
one and the
care
same
why.
topics.
If people want to film each other having sex,
It's
but prostitution leads into a lot of human trafficking.
so this is the kind of thing that I'm talking.
during sex means the
Same thing with pornography. So this is
I think
the
it's a little bit of.
So this is the thing that I have. I know that you're probably going to agree with this. So I only talk about this because Leah
Yes.
Thompson, or whatever his name was before, the swimmer who beat a bunch of women at swimming and won the first place thing, discusses, and he has a very good point. Is conservatives are half-hearted about where they support this whole. These are the squishes, by the way. These are the people who are half-hearted conservatives and Republicans. They believe that, okay, well, it's okay if men say that they're women, but they can't play a women's sports, right? So you see
glass number 3, by the way, just if anyone's counting.
You see,
I'm pouring less than a shot into these glasses.
You say less than a shot, I can grab a shot glass right now and it'll fill that back.
So you
let's go.
see the disparity,
Grab a shot
right?
glass.
Where you have people saying that, oh, it's fine. Men can say that they're women, but they just can't play in women's sports. It's like it's either an all or nothing deal. And I think this is an all or nothing deal. If you think sex work should be legal, then you should. If you think it should be legal, then you should. Okay, yeah,
For
pornography.
those who can't see, Cornette challenged me and said, I can grab a shot glass right now, and that's a shot. This is less than a quarter of a shot.
Yeah.
And I could
Less
be a
than a
man.
quarter of a shot.
And I could be a man and agree. I was wrong.
Well, when you're wrong so often,
adding
it
up-
just
it's
becomes
adding up,
nature.
though.
Give me that. What the fuck do you mean?
I'll just mute you. It's fine.
Oh shit!
Can y'all hear me?
No. Loud enough, I can hear you on the other mics.
So you're back now.
yell louder.
So
It's great.
So yeah, I think sex work should be illegal. I don't think prostitution should be legalized. There's just too many avenues for STD spreading.
Why should
human
only-
trafficking?
Hold on,
be
just go
illegal.
to a normal university
and
party at a frat house. You'll get plenty of.
I
STDs
think
there.
pornography should also be
You don't need prostitution
illegal.
for that.
Why?
In the same vein as I just described,
Sex trafficking?
sex trafficking,
Most
proliferation
people
of
on
sexual
OnlyFans
diseases.
are doing it themselves.
That's what they would like you to think. Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
Cox, I want you to understand something.
Much like how I think this is also it's also a problem. One, because porn is such an evil thing. No, because when I know you're not inclined to this, but men in
No,
the
I
room who are
understand.
inclined to marry somebody at some point, marry a woman, okay? People's men's obsession with pornography. There is very few and far between women who will approve of their significant other watching porn. Okay, just flat out. Why do you think that is? It is. I'll tell you why. It's a I'm not good enough because he has to seek out this other stuff here, but I'm right here.
Might be a little disrespectful if you are
It's
in a relationship.
It's disrespectful. It's ultimately
But at the same
disrespectful.
time, I don't think that we should be able to tell other people what they're allowed to look at. on
But
the
your
internet.
original
Well, we do all the
point-
time. Why we cut off child pornography?
Why?
We have these objective moral compasses.
Because that-
why is it different for adults?
because
human
you're,
trafficking.
Because you're
Human
what you're
trafficking.
saying is
But if you're trying to convince me that
Cox.
human trafficking isn't a problem in pornography industry, then I don't believe you.
you have lost your sight, and I am surprised from you when you said that if that's the point, then why not child pornography? Because of good consent, like you originally said, right? A child cannot consent to that.
The issue is all of these are avenues, just like how prostitution is an avenue to protect people who are doing human trafficking.
but-
So can the pornography industry.
Yeah, and again, and you're believing that. I want you to. How long is it? Personal question. Don't have to answer it. How long has it been since you watched any?
Middle school.
Middle school.
Middle school or high
okay,
school, early
so
high school.
that was what 2009 for you? Because I was in middle school
ages ago?
Yeah, I was in middle school in 2009. I want you to understand that right now, if you go through it, admit I do watch porn, and
You were
the
in
most of
elementary
it.
school in 2009.
Cornet looks like the type to watch a lot of hentai.
You were in 5th grade.
Yes, I do. I'm not afraid to admit it.
All right, okay.
But a lot of it nowadays is like, what would you call it now? Home film, I guess, is what you would call it. Companies aren't like,
Yeah.
I'm fully porn now.
I'm sure there's categories for that, just like how there's categories for everything.
Yeah,
But
and-
there's also still companies who are literally just garnered to making the smut
And you
filth.
were taking a small portion of an industry and thinking
Is that a-
it's the whole portion of it.
If
and I've
there's that-
seen you
if-
argue.
If there's that much money for a company to do pornographic films,
Right.
there's all the incentive in the world for them to do that.
There is incentive, but you have said multiple times in several podcasts that you do not define a single aspect from its small wrongdoings. There's thousands of people that will.
So there's a spectrum of this. Unlike gender, this isn't a binary. This has a spectrum. It is.
There's like
It is.
to taking the place.
The issue is you have a one option or one option or other, right?
Right.
What are the bads of either decision? Okay, let me break it down, right? Okay, let's look at prostitution. Okay, I think let's first get a baseline. Okay, why is it different? Why is it not prostitution if there's a camera present? Why is that different
So
than
That's
literally
getting into
anything?
The
Well-
tidbits about
It's
political aspects.
yeah,
and shit.
everything's political.
Yes.
right.
So here's my take.
Because
In-
we
in a-
have
in
we
a
have to
healthy
define these
relationship-
things. We have to define these things to draw conclusions.
So
right?
Consent.
in a healthy relationship, depending on how both people see it, porn can definitely be bad. It can deteriorate and fucking make the relationship fall apart. But like,
Or it could spice things up.
exactly, it can go
Sure.
either way depending on the people
Depending
that are
on
in the
who-
relationship.
And color me traditional, I guess. And I'm sure like in this sex crazed society that we're living in now, those are probably absolutely.
I've had 6 threesomes and I've had 5 foursomes and I've been in a weird train with a girl named Atari.
yes, sir.
I'm pretty sure that's not her real name.
The console?
Like the console.
the console. That's
Yes.
hilarious.
Jesus.
Fucking old fuck.
So,
But I've noticed
I'm stone cold, motherfucker. What are you talking about?
there is a deterioration if people just seek out porn inside of a relationship.
let me
Absolutely.
I understand. I'm taking that your anecdote 100%
Yeah.
valid, right? And I will ascribe this to you. You're part of the 1% of the population. Absolutely. You and you are in the 1% of the population. Okay?
So
You're different.
the chances
Okay.
of the 1%
I hate to
being
tell
in the
this to
same
you.
room.
You're a minority. Get over it.
Oh, because we're queers.
Yes, now you get it.
my bad. My bad.
So, but for a large majority, over half of America, there are more, I guess, male and female, relationships, and so you have a woman. We all know women, okay, and there are some absolutely, and there's roles that men play with their wives. It is one of comfort, it is reassurance, it is, I would say, a low form of worship, especially if they're the mother of your children.
Yes, I actually
Extremely
agree with that.
intimacy,
Yeah.
is extremely important.
It is that you are the most beautiful woman. I want to be with you for the rest of my life.
Put on the bunny suit.
And
Now-
so,
now, here's my question.
I think for a vast
If it
majority
was
of women,
flipped, and the concept of it. Say we take the same perspective and how the female treat the males. Now, if a female is addicted to porn and
Looks at her
she,
husband and says, "Put on the bunny suit,"
or just it completely flips it, and she is the one that is watching porn, and she is doing whatever she
There
can to
was this
masturbate.
redhead
How is that perceived?
I got you. It's exactly the same. All right, so let's say anybody in the situation, right? You guys go to you guys walk in and your wife is watching on the big screen in the living room. Just porn with huge ginormous dicks. It doesn't matter how big you are, they're all bigger than you. Are you going to feel some sort of way?
Yeah, that's not possible.
So considering me as an individual, I ain't worried.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Cool. Yes.
Now,
anecdotes are going to be really helpful here. I get that. Step outside. Let's have some perspective for a moment.
Okay.
Do you not think
Just pretend you have a small dick.
especially today, especially in today's age, do you not think penis size is a very self-conscious topic amongst majority of men in the United States?
Considering the way
it's very
considering the way women are
Absolutely.
raised nowadays.
So in the seventh grade, I realized that a lot of people were like doing that dick comparison shit. Like, I don't know why, but I would literally go around.
Surgeries for it now.
I would go around telling people I have a
I don't need to
fucking
fix it.
small dick all the time because like I'm comfortable with myself, but like yeah, it is a very very harsh topic.
Just for all men out there, just to make you understand what world we're living in.
I know that it's probably not
Females
sponsored.
can have a surgery and be given a dick bigger than yours. Just to let you know. For
That's
future
actually not a
reference.
penis. It's not a penis. That is a
Physically
bicep
impossible.
wrapped in skin.
Massive. It's physically impossible.
It's from their arm.
Yeah, it's gross.
But they still can have it and still fuck the same girl you want to fuck.
Okay. So
do you still fuck women?
Hang on.
What?
Do you still fuck women?
I mean,
Ew.
Yes or
That's
no?
what you wanted to say,
the-
right?
Yes.
Yes. Best of both worlds for me and this motherfucker. So there ain't no concern for me and him. It's y'all insecure motherfuckers that are worried about it.
Okay, like I said,
Suck my small pee.
Who's insecure?
Hey, get fucked.
He's married. I have a fiance.
So this is the thing.
Pretty sure I don't know.
I'm divorced.
So no, listen. Hang on. Let's
I'm
say,
stone cold.
okay, hey,
Hayes is a wizard.
Hang on. You guys are Neanderthals. For a moment,
You're
Brought
pussy
it next
whipped.
to the
Shut the
conversation.
fuck up.
you go out on a date
Neanderthal.
with a woman. Everyone is single here.
Hayes, you will never know what it's like.
You go
to
out
be
on
pussy.
you go out on a
Thank God.
Go ahead, Cox. Go ahead.
you guys go on a date with a woman. You're all single. You go on a date with a woman, and for some, this is 2023, so you have sex the first date.
Yeah.
And her first comment, and she laughs
slut
at
do you
the
think I
size of your
am?
penis.
So
Do you not think that later you're going to be a little more
Or not have
self-conscious?
sex.
so
the
I'll
first
I'll
date.
tell you.
Well, yeah, obviously, because you're a fucking
I
classy
think you've
gentleman.
heard
Yeah,
this
it's pretty
story.
Imagine going on a date with a beautiful redhead, and
Yeah.
at the end of the night, she begs you to let her peg you, and it's just awkward.
So Cox.
Only if it's a 3D printed like representation of my
So
penis.
coming from an
Then it's
individual,
okay.
It's like, do you have
Who
a
is
clone of Willie on
relatively
hand? Because if
gifted.
not, I'm not
Okay.
going to be some fucking
My
gay
first
man
experience with a
who
woman.
lets another
My first
model of
experience
penis.
sexually.
You can put a dildo of my penis in
Is
my
it
ass.
okay? Hold on, fellas. Is it gay if it's a clone of Willie of your own dick that goes in your
It's
butt?
not that bad.
So
it's okay.
Cox.
Or is that
So coming from an individual whose first sexual experience at all was with a woman, and I've told Parker this out of
so
competition to help me get through it. When I showed her, your belief is that because it's small, fuck that. I ran into a situation my first time.
I understand. My
No,
point
I want to
was-
hear. I want to hear.
I
where
know.
this
I
is
want to hear
going.
it too. But my point is, for folks, so we don't get confused, is that
Keep talking. Shut the fuck up. Let him
penises
talk.
are a
Let it,
sensitive topic for men.
Keep talking.
And when we get to the point to undressing, she not only laughed me out of the room. Well, I wouldn't say me, but she left and laughed because she was how should I put it? Afraid of the size, the size and shit like that. It's not only the small individuals that run into this problem.
bragging,
Yeah.
dude.
So like
And
I
that
said,
Sounds like you're bragging.
No,
this is like a
no,
humble
this is
brag.
humble
No,
bragging.
this is to
listen,
prove a
listen,
point.
listen.
Dude,
Yes.
the girl was so scared of my
So
massive cock.
it's both sides, right?
Right.
Penis size is a sensitive topic of men.
And it's not that it's sensitive.
Side note.
It's that individuals.
It's a self-conscious topic.
Has
Most
anyone
men.
ever cried after sex? besides me.
What did you say?
Yes,
The
I have.
Okay, the second girl I've ever slept with, I cried after, and she fucking bounced. She dipped, but like, there is an emotional aspect that men don't really like getting into. But going back to like sex work, I definitely think there is an aspect of our society that thrives, yes, and does do like a good service for a decent amount of people. Because my best friend in Colorado, he's actually registered in Washington as a sex addict, and he broke his dick. He's had multiple sex injuries.
Jesus Christ.
So speaking of sex injuries, I have had a sex injury, and they're not fun.
No, so
Break
like,
your
yeah,
dick, that doesn't feel good.
My friend, I'm not going to drop his name. He broke his dick, and immediately, like, it might get a little bit graphic. His nuts started swelling because all of the blood was just
All the
pooling
blood just
into
pulls
it.
into his balls,
And
and
he
it
ran downstairs to his best friend.
Terrible.
Like, hey, Brandon, I need to show you something.
Oh, you were there?
It's such a common name. It's such a pain in the ass.
I love it.
Crux of my life.
I need to show you something. Don't take it as gay, but I need you to see it. And he whipped his nuts out. And they were the size of grapefruits. They were swollen within 30 seconds.
I feel bad. I'm laughing because that would be I'd have to-
mortifying.
Oh my god!
Can I get his number?
Jesus
Dude,
Christ.
you missed most of it.
So that's like if you get kicked in the nuts really bad, you get like some fucking like,
ruptured-
hemorrhage or rupture or something. That's
artery.
what happens to them. They swell up.
Should marijuana be illegal?
Yeah, coming from a state where it's legal, shit's faking
I
gay, bro.
think that the government should not regulate what people do with themselves. However, I think doing it in public should be illegal. I think drinking in public should be illegal. As much as I liked being in Germany with their no open container laws, I think drinking in public should be illegal.
about
I
to
think
say.
doing any kind of drugs in public should be illegal.
And would you say
You
like
are
public
taking
easements
fun
count?
out of a lot of things right now.
I think that if you are doing anything outside of your own home,
Okay.
it affects the public, and then the
like a
public
cop.
has a
like,
right to be
that's not
concerned.
unreasonable. Like
Speaking of the microphone,
Would that fall under the disturbance of peace or whatever law
well,
they
public
have?
intoxication.
also like there's safety
Public
issues.
nuisance laws.
Like
Yeah.
like Cornette, there's like safety issues. I can tell when
So-
drivers are stoned.
Yeah.
I am able
Yeah.
to tell.
I mean,
now.
I've read into my
Yeah.
industry. It's gonna be fucking.
Anytime you see someone doing something retarded in a car in Washington, they're probably stoned.
Well, yeah. No, hold on. That should be a DUI. It already is DUI.
No,
You
no,
get-
no, 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 it isn't because they
In
still
Colorado,
can't-
you
No,
can.
no, it is. It is.
You get a DUI if you pulled
Yes.
over and
You still
get
cannot
caught
how
smoking weed.
and I'm gonna ask a serious question, and it's not like the whole like I'm not asking in bad faith like shit libs would. How do you actually, as a police officer,
what you're saying.
test for how high you are? I
Do
would
you
love
smell-
for
So,
there
no,
to be
there's no level. There's no level of
the standard.
highness.
The standard of figuring out is: do you smell marijuana? Perfect.
It's really that it.
So
So
it.
people
you can
can get
actually
pulled.
fight it in court. So
wait, wait.
when it comes to the smell specifically, if the officer is not specifically trained to identify the smells of certain drugs, and they say they can smell it, you can fight that in court if they weren't specifically trained. But officers here in Washington are trained on smells.
Every state that has sort of allowed marijuana for recreational use.
This was a problem for a couple years
Have to
after
do
we
that.
passed it
So-
in Colorado.
And when you when
This
police
goes
officer
into
pulls
what I was
you
talking
over,
about. There
Wait,
shouldn't be
wait,
a
let me hear-
reason why the government has to regulate what you do in your own home, right? As long as it's not affecting anyone. why
Right, but
should
we're
the
talking
government
about a
regulate it?
vehicle
Can
here.
we?
But when you get into doing it in public,
Can
then
we?
the public needs to be concerned.
Can we sort of say that certain substances can have
Go ahead, Parker.
effects?
Take the. Go ahead, Cody. Take the. mic.
No, I want to hear Cornette.
Can't they have effects outside of the home as well?
So okay, that's the thing. Okay, Colorado, great. Working in the security department, understanding like I came to California right when it got legalized. That was in 2014. I was sitting there dealing with people that are smoking weed, and I'm from California because we didn't legalize it then. I was sitting there going, that guy's smoking weed right here in front of the bar, and I like had to get an understanding of what the fuck I was supposed to do. I even talked to a police officer that had to give me instructions that they have public areas that you're allowed to smoke. You're allowed to be high. Can't drive. Cannot drive. Yeah.
Sorry, side note. Me and my dad chased this dude down because he was smoking out of a crack pipe going through fucking from my hometown, Port Orchard, all the way up to Silverdale. Followed him for like 40 miles to make sure the cops got him. But dude was swerving all the road. Literally, like, elbows on the steering wheel with the crack pipe and lighter in his hand in like a little Toyota Corolla. It was fucking ridiculous.
But it really is the same as like the current Anglo laws on drinking in general, where it's fine as long as you do it in places that are designated for it. But once you imagine being like super drunk, super rowdy, and leaving a bar, right? Or leaving your house and causing issues, pissing on fucking buildings, fighting people. That's illegal. Public intoxication is already illegal. So we don't have to have weed be illegal, though I do think that it should be still federally maybe illegal.
I think there should be a little bit more limitations on it as well. I think that adults who are smoking weed in a house full of minors, it doesn't matter if the minors were given it. I think they should face some repercussions. I don't think that's good. Secondhand smoke for marijuana is not very good. Marijuana has also been shown to dull the mind.
So
because I tell you what,
that's fair.
Kids I knew in high school who smoked weed are
it became their whole personality.
Thank you very much.
For the most part, if you are a adult,
you're the
you have
smartest
proof
I
in your
met.
podcast.
If you're an adult and you want to do something, I don't necessarily think the government should tell you that you're not allowed to do something to your own body. However, I do think that the homeless problem is a drug problem, really. So I'm not sure what the best way to go about it is. But I do think that being drunk, intoxicated in any form in public should be illegal.
I think any legalization of drugs has severe ramifications, not only in the house, but outside. I think that people are more inclined in some instances to buy drugs instead of food for themselves. I think that people are more inclined to buy drugs for themselves and the family.
This entire conversation we've had so far has been on recreational use, correct?
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, I'm not like trying to call you out or anything, Walker, but like, I think you'd be willing to say there are some things you really are comfortable saying the government can step in and say no.
So,
and one of those would be probably abortion, right? Like, we're both on the same page on that one.
Transing children.
So I'm not necessarily on the board that the government says that it's okay to literally kill someone.
Right, but you're okay with them
Who
saying
gave
you
the
can't.
government the authority to say that you can kill someone?
Well, the shit libs, really.
Because
That's
saying
the
that
world
you
we're living
can't
in
kill
now.
someone just seems like normal, right? Like murder.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
I mean,
but like, it's the world we're living in, not the one we want it to be. You know what I mean? It's
No,
like,
I don't know what you mean.
You do.
Explain further.
it means like you can't
Say it
just
in
live
smarter words.
pie in the sky shit.
Say it in smarter words.
No, fuck you. You know what I meant.
I don't.
Bad faith. Fuck you.
I'm not arguing in bad faith. What do you mean?
Okay,
You're being retarded.
just
in bad
back to the
faith.
consensus of the idea of like legalizing marijuana. I personally think marijuana has a lot more benefits than it does cons, but it also depends on the society and how they use it, which I grant.
Outside of recreational use.
Outside of recreational use, I personally think that I like it as the aspect of we keeping the same rules as drinking
Someone
alcohol.
that's about to go on antidepressants and anxiety medication here soon, I feel like the proper use of medical marijuana would definitely help a lot more.
Which the VA actually does that now, and they've been doing it for years, where they actually will prescribe you a doctor.
As a VA, but
yeah,
as service members, like
as service members, yeah, only because they don't want to distract you, right?
Yes, but like when it comes to like antidepressants, there's no real science behind it because everyone's brain is different. It chemically reacts different, and you literally have to trial and error to find the right one that works for you, and it can really negatively affect your work and your personal life, and that's
the same thing that marijuana would do.
The only reason,
literally
like,
the exact same thing.
The only reason I'm getting to the point where I feel like I need to be on this shit is because my stepmother keeps pushing me for it and for it and for it. But at the same time, like I'm still so fucking hesitant about it. But I definitely need something outside of regular
chemical dependency is a burden.
Yes,
like it's damning because they're doing the same shit to children. Like we've had this whole thing for the past couple of years. If boys being boys in school, oh, he has ADHD, medicate him.
Gotta have the fucking attitude.
So I think on that aspect,
I think
we
all
should try
drugs
as a
have the
society-
capacity to be abused.
Yes.
In many different ways. Not the traditional sense of the word, but
we should try as a society to stay away from like a medical treatment as like far as drugs and stuff like that. Up until
Lobotomization.
like the brain is fully developed, because when
Yes.
you introduce drugs like
Yes.
that at a young age, it can fucking warp
weed,
like, how,
weed
yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
Weed most notably.
Yeah, weed. It is. It's
It is.
Another
Pornography
chemical
will
that
fuck
goes in
up
your
your
brain
mind
that
if you
affects-
read
I
that
agree
shit
100%.
from a
Weed's
young age.
weed's also very addictive. Weed's also weed's also very addictive.
Yeah.
I hate when people say that it's not. It's so,
It is more addictive than people let on.
It
even
is.
If it is.
It is definitely. I think a
as
gateway.
bad as like alcohol.
So
like,
it's
I
it's
just-
not addictive in the manner of like like how heroin is. If you go through withdrawals, you might actually die because if you're
Okay,
heroin-
true.
So,
Fair.
but
Sure.
it is addictive in the mentality of
It's the
my brain
can
is
get
getting used to
addicted and
this,
releases
and
the
if I don't
pheromone-
have
it has
this,
the same
I'm-
reaction and pheromone release inside your brain
Yeah.
for when you need it.
Yeah.
But your body,
Let me tell
the
you a
difference. Your
tell you
body
a
is
story.
going to have that bad reaction to where it needs that chemical and that chemical balance of that particular chemical that it got so dependent on, like someone with alcoholism.
Let me tell you a
it's
story.
not like-
has seizures.
Let me
when
tell you a
starts
story
rehab from it.
of a family member, someone who was addicted to marijuana. Okay, weed is so addictive that you start paying for it instead of food. So you counterintuitively lose weight because you're just not eating.
Based.
Furthermore,
It's not counterintuitively. If you don't eat, you lose weight, but it's like normal.
well,
That's
no,
intu-
because weed gives you the
that's
munchies.
intuitive as fuck.
Weed gives you the munchies, and so you're going to probably eat, but you're wanting to buy weed instead of food for yourself. There's addiction right there. That's a not healthy use of the drug in question. When that person came off of it, their body had no way of triggering the feeling of hunger. They would eat and throw up. They could not keep food down because they were so dependent. It was so natural for them to use the effects of marijuana on the brain that they couldn't eat. And it's crazy, right? So weed is addictive, and a very something I knew that weed was addictive, but to that extent, I was surprised, right?
When it comes to recreational use, I really do struggle with like the idea of actually. I mean, I get it. People recreationally drink alcohol all the time, and it's fucking killed millions of people. But when it comes to weed, I feel like it's more along the lines of self-regulating and self-medicating.
I wanted to talk about the societal ramifications for weed use. Weed being as abundantly available as it is, it's so much easier to get, and we're seeing increased crime rates revolving around marijuana. We're seeing families being broken down because of the use of it. Pregnant women are just using it. It's affecting.
But at the same time, you can
massive-
argue that literally anything
does, right?
Anything.
It also makes you very unproductive.
It
sure,
is.
That's
not true.
Being an alcoholic can also make you unproductive, but not in the same way.
The ideology, hang on, of this too. There's also a more political aspect to everything, right?
Yeah.
The New World Order, unironically, the global government that wants to be created from the left, right? They want you to be placated by drugs. They want you to be placated by porn. They want you to be placated by
Big agree.
by video games. They want you to be placated so that way they can do whatever the fuck they want. They want you to be on drugs so that way you're numb to everything, every fucked up thing that they're doing around you.
So totally get that these people have an agenda because anything that we do as a society, the bigger upper motherfuckers are going to take it and try to make money off it, try to steer it their way. No matter what we do. We can be a whole country smoking meth, and they're going to be like, our campaign approves meth. Smoke it. Here you go.
We'll
make it cheaper for you.
Okay,
We'll deliver
here's
it.
another example of
It's
the
that
legalization of.
concept. They will just do whatever they want.
Here's another example of the legalization of what would normally be illegal drugs. Look at what's happening in Oregon. Look at what Portland has become.
Yeah.
Look at what California, Sacramento. Look at San Francisco.
San Bernardino.
San Bernardino.
At the same time,
Emmett.
none of this is long term. This is actually relatively short term compared to the legalization of everything or the decriminalization of it.
And if we look at other
So-
countries that we're about to talk about.
So are you
same
trying to
thing.
tell me that drug addicts are going to suddenly wake up off of the sidewalk they're on and be like, oh, I'm going to go become an accountant?
Yeah, frankly, I'm
No, I'm
more
just hoping they
convinced
die off.
that it's going to look more like alcoholism.
So now that they
and,
actually
people are just going to be
completely
more
state-
less unproductive
So,
over a
one
longer
thing about
period of
Oregon.
time.
Oregon was rebuilding an idea based off they got from what I believe is the Netherlands, actually, ironically.
Probably.
Yeah, so what they do is when they legalized every bit of the drug, they made it to where now they have a state-funded amount from their taxes that go directly into this program they've made where they have these halfway homes where they'll actually let people do their drugs and then have them get off of it and also have a rehab center all kind of mixed up in one. They keep it safe, and they keep these people that are in these situations off the street, and they all kind of put them in one area. It's isolating the problem in a one way.
If law enforcement were given the fangs and DAs had the stomach to prosecute people that didn't do such a thing and didn't use such services, and or made it very clear to people that do use such a service, you fuck up, we're gonna get you.
Did you hear about Biden?
Maybe that might be worth a dance.
Here's the cool thing that they're doing, though.
Sorry, Biden just recently forgave nonviolent marijuana crimes. It's like 6,500 people. I might have the
Trump did it first.
Right.
Trump did it first.
So
yeah,
okay.
To answer that
just
question,
following suit.
So in the Netherlands, what they do is, because the way they catch the dealers, the way they catch the trafficking of drugs, they're taking their customers and they're putting them in one location.
Hold pause. Is it the Netherlands or Sweden that has the 2-year minimum military contract shit? Is it
I think
Sweden?
it's Sweden. Yeah, it's Sweden.
Okay.
So, like, it's funny you just said that, but like,
They're
frankly,
utilizing
like,
as a
the
tool.
place we're talking about, which is America,
Oregon.
is not Scandinavia, right?
The
Take that
scales
however
of-
you want, and I mean it a
But
certain
the
way.
thing
and
is, it's a start
in
of
polite
them
company.
trying to
I won't
reflect it
explain it.
in
The
writing.
scales, but look at it.
Wait,
it's
wait,
not
wait,
working.
Wait.
because they're not doing it right.
Frankly,
It's not working. How,
frankly,
how are they not doing it right? They're setting up the houses. I think
No,
the American
Oregon,
people just
Oregon
don't care.
hasn't. Yeah, exactly. American people don't care, and even
It
the
doesn't
people that are
work.
supposed to be caring about it, the ones that
So,
are actually supposed to.
do you know how it
something about
works?
stop giving a
Arrest them,
Cody,
put them in jail.
I don't know
and
if
send
you
them
know
to
how
a
jail works
government-funded rehab program.
in some
I think that'd be a
Scandinavian
much better
countries,
use of money.
but like it works like
Jail
a boot camp. You can leave jail on the weekends in some cases.
Jail
Okay,
and rehab
right.
centers.
That's not possible in America,
You're
and like
grouping
I'm
them up
not
and they
going to
should be.
explain why.
No. I want them to be.
You got to make your
I
own
want.
conclusions there.
I
okay?
want. I want the government response for drug addiction.
But at the same
instead
time,
of
like,
I
tossing
agree
people in
with that.
jail, right, to do time and then get back out and go back to it. I would much rather taxpayer dollars. I'm all about using taxpayer dollars to help Americans.
Yes.
I am all for that. I don't give a fuck what's going on overseas. Unless it's going to affect American citizens, I don't give a fuck. Okay. I think a much better use if there was a government funded, take all the money out of fucking welfare and put it towards this program. Okay. Government funded and government operated rehab centers where drug users who are caught on the streets go to the rehab center for free.
You
and
mean
that's
our dime. But
that's their center.
Okay.
That's their sentence. They don't go to jail. They go to
Yes.
the rehab
I
center.
agree with that.
See,
But if
that's
you
the thing.
group-
This
if
isn't
you group them in-
Scandinavia. This is America. That wouldn't work.
But if you're grouping,
Why
if you're
not,
grouping the
though?
drug addicts into the
You need
actual
to
incarceration,
draw your own
where
conclusions.
Is that because we have
backers,
too many
rapists
people,
are
or is
actually
it because
put-
the kind of
It's the
people?
type of people.
the likelihood of them actually getting help is greatly diminished. But if it's nonviolent drug users in a separate area jail, I wholeheartedly agree with that.
and that's what I'm saying. If it's nonviolent people, they go to the rehab center.
Yes,
Because they're just users. They're just intoxicated.
Like, on
the
they have a
side.
problem. Hang on, please, for the love of God, for the love of God, Hayes. These are nonviolent criminal. These are nonviolent people who are just addicted to drugs. They get picked up because it's an illegal drug. They've been using the illegal drug. They've obviously have had access to it. They've obviously been in possession. They go to the rehab center. Get better. The violent crimes go to prison. They go to jail.
Right.
Right. I think that is such a more logical and ultimately more beneficial. Where are we going to get the money? Take away your bullshit fucking social programs like welfare and put it all into that.
That's a good point. And also, this would also be a program that can help out, like another topic we were talking about, all the people who get seduced into sex trafficking and they're on drugs and kidnapped and put on drugs to do.
Well, I'm
all the
sorry.
sex work.
We want to legalize prostitution and pornography, so we can't really tell
Just wanna-
who's
porn-
being
porn is illegal.
sexually trafficked or anything like that.
But if you find somebody that is doing it and they're on drugs, you know what to do with them. If you have the program, it would make sense.
I can't hear you. You're not using the mic. It's fine. Don't even give it to him.
Give it to me.
Unimportant.
Okay, your assumption is that you were saying that we want to legalize fucking prostitution. We don't, but we want to keep it legal for porn.
Cornette.
That is.
We heard you the first
That
time.
is the
a
most
failed
asinine
statement.
thing you could
I
possibly
want
say.
to legalize
What?
We heard you the first time.
prostitution.
Is it because you want to make money?
That's not the point.
You fucking pimp.
Okay, well, we're out of time.
You guys
So
know in the Middle East, actually, pornography and all these things that we want illegal actually are illegal. Just go to the Middle East.
crazy.
By the way, follow us at LinkedIn
Place of
and
paradise,
our
right?
Yeah,
OnlyFans and
go and
Tumblr.
follow